It was an ordinary morning at Tesla's headquarters, or so it seemed. Elon Musk had just wrapped up a meeting about the latest advancements in electric vehicle technology, his mind already buzzing with ideas for the next big step. He was on his way to his office when he passed by one of the open workspaces in the main hall. The employees in the area were hard at work, the usual hum of focused productivity filling the air. However, today, there was something off. Something that immediately caught Musk's attention. A glance at the corner of the room revealed the unexpected. One of Tesla's top engineers, Alex Turner, was sound asleep at his desk. His head resting on a pile of blueprints, his body slumped in the chair, completely oblivious to the bustling energy of the office. Musk stopped in his tracks. This was no ordinary nap. The room was full of people, yet Alex had clearly let exhaustion overwhelm him. His disheveled appearance was the epitome of burnout. Elon's curiosity piqued, and just as he was about to turn around and keep walking, another startling sight met his eyes. Another employee, Sarah Lawson, was curled up in a corner, her head resting on her arms, the faint sound of light snoring filling the silence around her. At first, Musk felt a pang of disbelief. Was this truly happening at Tesla, the company that he had poured his heart and soul into? Where the pace of innovation was second to none, where deadlines and expectations were always at their highest. These were employees who had been part of Tesla's rise to prominence, highly regarded in their fields, yet here they were, sleeping on the job. Musk's mind raced as he thought about the possibilities. Had something gone terribly wrong? Had the pressure of working for Tesla reached an unmanageable point? Was this a sign of burnout across the board? Or was it something deeper, something more troubling than simple exhaustion? As he watched Sarah stir in her sleep, Musk couldn't shake the unsettling thought. Was this a sign of failure, or simply a moment of weakness? He turned on his heel and walked toward the executive wing, determined to find answers, but also weighed down by the uneasy feeling that something significant had just unfolded within his company. He knew this wouldn't be an easy situation to address, but he also knew he couldn't let it slide. Tesla wasn't just a car company. It was a culture, a revolution. And that revolution needed to stay on track. Later that afternoon, Elon called a meeting with his senior leadership team. The room was filled with familiar faces, people he had worked with for years, people who understood the weight of the Tesla mission. They had all seen the company grow from a dream into a force that was reshaping the future of transportation. But this was different. Musk wasted no time in addressing the issue head-on. "I've seen something today that I can't ignore," he said, his voice calm but carrying a tone of unshakable seriousness. The room grew silent, every ear on him as he continued. "I walked by one of the open workspaces, and I saw two employees fast asleep at their desks. And I'm not talking about a quick nap or someone taking a break. I'm talking about exhaustion, pure and simple." The room shifted uneasily as everyone exchanged glances. Musk wasn't the type to get caught up in minor issues, so this had clearly struck a nerve. He continued. "Now, I understand the pressure we're under. I get it. We're building something revolutionary. But we also have a responsibility to our employees, to ensure they're not burning out, to ensure they have the support they need to thrive. No one should ever be pushed to the point where they collapse at their desk." There was a brief pause. One of the senior managers, Jack Peterson, spoke up, his voice measured but concerned. "Elon, are you suggesting that we just let them sleep? We need to maintain productivity, and if employees are falling asleep at their desks, it's a sign that something's broken." Musk leaned forward, his eyes steady as he met Jack's gaze. "No. I'm not saying we let them sleep. But we also don't just fire people the moment they fall short. These employees are valuable to Tesla. I want to understand why this is happening before we make any rash decisions." There was a murmur of agreement in the room, though a few eyebrows were raised. Elon's stance was not what they were used to. Most leaders would have reprimanded or even dismissed employees caught in such a state, but Musk wasn't just any leader. He always sought a deeper meaning in the things others overlooked. That evening, Musk called Alex and Sarah into his office. As they walked in, both looked uncomfortable, their eyes avoiding his gaze. Musk gestured to the chairs in front of his desk and nodded for them to sit. His demeanor was calm, yet there was a weight to the conversation that neither of them could ignore. "I saw what happened today," Musk began, his voice soft yet firm. "And I'm not going to pretend I didn't notice. But I also want to understand. What's going on? Why did this happen?" Alex looked up first, his face flushed with embarrassment. He opened his mouth, but the words seemed to catch in his throat. Sarah spoke next, her voice quiet but steady. "It's been a lot. The deadlines, the pressure, we're all running on fumes at this point. We push ourselves so hard that sometimes we just crash." Musk nodded thoughtfully. He had always known that the pressure at Tesla was intense, but hearing it spoken aloud was different. These weren't just employees who had lost motivation or interest. These were people who had given everything they had, and then some. "I understand," Musk said after a moment of silence. "This company runs at a pace that is unlike anything else. But that doesn't mean we can afford to break people. I want to find a way to make sure this doesn't happen again, but we need to be open about what's going on. What do you need?" Both Alex and Sarah exchanged glances, unsure of how to respond. Musk didn't speak to them like employees. He spoke to them like partners. And that, they realized, was why they respected him so much. "We need better support," Sarah finally said, her voice gaining strength. "More resources, more breaks, more recognition for the work we're doing. It's not just about the results, it's about keeping us in a place where we can sustain it." Alex nodded. "We need to be able to recharge, to not feel like we're going to break every day. Otherwise, we won't make it." Musk leaned back in his chair, processing their words. He could see the truth in what they were saying. Tesla had always been about pushing boundaries, but he couldn't afford to lose the very people who were making it all happen. He needed to protect them just as much as he needed to protect the company. As the meeting ended, Musk stood up, his mind already formulating a plan. He had to act. But how? He couldn't simply allow this level of burnout to fester, nor could he completely change the company's fast-paced culture overnight. Elon made a decision. He would introduce a new program, one that focused on both mental and physical well-being. He would work with HR to develop initiatives that would help employees recharge, find better work-life balance, and most importantly, feel valued. As he walked out of his office, he couldn't help but feel a sense of resolve. He had seen a problem, and now he had to fix it. This wasn't just about Tesla's success, it was about the people who made that success possible. Sometimes, Musk thought to himself as he stared out the window, the hardest thing isn't solving the technical problems. It's taking care of the people who are solving them. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? Elon Musk's story was never one of comfort or ease. Born in Pretoria, South Africa, in 1971, he was a child of ambition, intelligence, and an insatiable curiosity. From an early age, he spent hours tinkering with electronics, computers, and books. His parents, May Musk, a dietitian, and Errol Musk, an electromechanical engineer, both encouraged his intellect in different ways. May always supported his interests, though her life wasn't easy, and Errol, with his sharp technical mind, passed down a thirst for innovation. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Growing up, Elon was a quiet, introverted child. He was bullied in school, which pushed him deeper into his books and thoughts. His mind, however, was constantly working in the background, always thinking about how to solve problems, make the world better, and maybe even revolutionize the way people lived. He quickly developed a reputation for being a tech geek, but he never let the teasing or isolation get to him. Instead, he used it to fuel his passion for knowledge. When Elon was 17, he left South Africa, seeking opportunities that would allow him to make a difference. He moved to Canada and enrolled at Queen's University, where he met the first major turning point in his life, a chance to go to the United States. After just 2 years at Queen's, he transferred to the University of Pennsylvania, earning degrees in both physics and economics. The journey, however, was far from over. After finishing college, Musk ventured to California to pursue a PhD at Stanford University. But as he had always been, Elon was too impatient for the traditional path. Just 2 days after arriving at Stanford, he dropped out to pursue his dream of building companies that could make a difference in the world. Elon's path was not without its challenges. His first company, Zip2, sold for a modest sum, but the real breakthrough came with PayPal, which revolutionized online payments. In 2002, PayPal was bought by eBay for $1.5 billion. Elon's share was worth over $100 million. But rather than sitting back and enjoying his newfound wealth, Musk decided to push further into uncharted territory. He launched SpaceX in 2002, determined to reduce space transportation costs and make space exploration accessible to everyone. His vision was far-reaching, but so was the skepticism surrounding him. Many thought he was too bold, too ambitious. However, Musk's resilience paid off. After a series of failures, SpaceX successfully launched its Falcon 9 rocket into orbit in 2008. It was a defining moment that proved Musk wasn't just a dreamer, he was a doer. Then came Tesla. In 2004, Musk became involved with Tesla Motors, now Tesla Incorporated, founded by Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning, and after some disagreements, Musk took over as CEO and product architect in 2008. The automotive industry had never seen anything like it, a fully electric car that could compete with the best of the best. Tesla faced an uphill battle, with critics who doubted the viability of electric vehicles in a world dominated by gasoline engines. But Musk's persistence was unwavering. Over the years, Tesla transformed from a niche player into a global powerhouse. The Roadster, Tesla's first production vehicle, was followed by the Model S, Model 3, and Model X, each a game-changer in its own right. Through it all, Elon's focus on sustainability, energy innovation, and his drive to push the boundaries of possibility kept Tesla at the forefront of the electric vehicle revolution. Yet despite all the accomplishments, Musk's life had always been a whirlwind of pressure, deadlines, and stress. He worked 100-hour weeks, living and breathing Tesla, SpaceX, and all his other ventures. His family life wasn't always easy, either. Divorced multiple times, Musk's personal relationships had often taken a back seat to his mission. Musk's reputation as a genius innovator and an unpredictable CEO had earned him both fierce loyalty from his employees and intense criticism from detractors. While his leadership was often unconventional, there was no doubt that he had changed the world, and he wasn't about to stop now. At Tesla, Musk had cultivated a culture that was unlike any other in the corporate world. Tesla was a company that thrived on pushing the envelope. Musk demanded perfection, but he also pushed for innovation in ways that many leaders wouldn't dare. Tesla employees were expected to deliver groundbreaking work at an unrelenting pace. The days of slow, corporate thinking were gone. Here, things moved fast, too fast, some might say. There was little room for rest, and the expectation was that employees would be as committed as Musk himself. This relentless pace was a double-edged sword. On one hand, it drove incredible achievements. It helped Tesla become the first company to prove that electric vehicles could be both practical and desirable. It had created an environment where every employee, no matter their role, felt they were a part of something much larger than themselves. But on the other hand, the stress was undeniable. Employees at Tesla were passionate, committed, and deeply dedicated to the mission. But the culture that Musk had cultivated, one of hard work and long hours, often came at a personal cost. Burnout was common, and the pressure to succeed, to constantly innovate, weighed heavily on the staff. It was a high-risk, high-reward environment. Those who thrived were those who could endure the grind and the stress. But for those who struggled to keep up, the consequences were real. Musk understood this better than anyone, but he rarely spoke about it. He pushed himself to the limit, and he expected no less from his team. Still, there was a nagging feeling in the back of his mind, a feeling that maybe, just maybe, the company's success was coming at too high a price. As he sat in his office, reflecting on the pressures facing his employees, Musk couldn't help but wonder if things could be different. He had always believed in the power of hard work and dedication. But now, seeing his team struggle, he wondered if there was a better way to balance the pursuit of excellence with the well-being of his people. His mind wandered back to the early days of Tesla when the company had nothing but a vision. It was an environment where failure wasn't an option, and everyone had to give their all. And yet, even back then, there had been moments when the team had burned out, when people had questioned if they could make it. Musk himself had gone through his own personal battles, but he had always managed to push forward, driven by a vision larger than himself. But now, as the company had grown, the stakes were higher. The pressure was greater. And the consequences of failure weren't just about losing a few clients or investors. This was about people's lives, their careers, their futures. Elon Musk had spent his life changing the world, and in doing so, he had built something extraordinary at Tesla. But now, with the discovery of his employees sleeping at their desks, he faced an entirely new challenge: how to push the boundaries of innovation without pushing his people too far. He sat at his desk, his fingers drumming lightly on the surface. The answer wasn't simple, but he knew one thing for sure: it was time for a change. How would he navigate this challenge? Could he find a way to maintain Tesla's high standards without sacrificing the well-being of his employees? As he stared out at the Tesla headquarters, a new thought began to form in his mind. This wasn't just about making the best electric vehicles anymore. It was about making sure the people behind those vehicles were able to keep going, without losing themselves along the way. The weeks that followed the shocking discovery of employees sleeping at their desks were a turning point for both Elon Musk and Tesla. It wasn't just the sight of exhausted employees that disturbed him, it was the realization that the company's pace of growth had begun to outpace the well-being of those pushing it forward. Elon knew he had to address it, but he also understood that making changes would be more complicated than just a few new policies. Tesla's success had been built on relentless ambition, pushing the boundaries of what was possible. And now, that very ambition seemed to be creating cracks in the foundation. The issue quickly spread beyond the two employees he had initially encountered. In the following days, more and more reports came in from various departments. Engineers, designers, and even senior managers were all starting to show signs of burnout. Deadlines were missed, quality was slipping, and the energy in the workplace felt more strained than ever. The sense of urgency that had been Tesla's heartbeat now felt suffocating. Musk wasn't blind to the pressures his employees were facing. He had been through it all himself: countless sleepless nights, missed family events, and sacrifices that often made him feel disconnected from the world around him. But this was different. He had to make sure Tesla's employees didn't burn out the way he had. In one of the more unsettling meetings Musk attended, a senior designer, Mark Jensen, raised a point that had been weighing heavily on the team's minds. "Mr. Musk, we've been doing this for years, living with the constant stress, the constant pressure. But it's starting to feel like we're running on fumes. People are starting to break down. I've seen it in my team, people are afraid to speak up, afraid of what will happen if they admit they're struggling." Musk nodded, his gaze focused. He had seen the fear in the eyes of his team, the hesitation in their voices. Tesla's culture had always been one of high expectations, but now those expectations felt overwhelming. "It's not just about the work anymore," Mark continued, his voice trembling slightly. "It's the constant fight to keep up. And for what? To meet another deadline, to hit another goal. We're all just trying to survive the next day." The room fell silent. Elon could feel the weight of Mark's words sink in. He had spent years pushing Tesla forward, but now he saw the cost it was having on his employees. They weren't just struggling, they were suffering. The relentless pursuit of perfection had become a burden, and it was slowly tearing at the fabric of the company. In response, Musk stood up, his voice calm but firm. "I hear you, Mark. I understand. But we can't afford to stop. Not yet. We have a mission that's bigger than all of us. But we will find a way to do it without sacrificing our people. I promise you that. He knew those words would provide little comfort to the team right now, but he also knew he couldn't abandon his vision. Tesla's mission wasn't just about electric cars. It was about changing the world, and changing the world required sacrifice. But was it too much sacrifice? As the days passed, the tension within Tesla grew. Musk met with his executive team to discuss possible solutions. The options were limited. He could increase the headcount, hiring more employees to share the load. But that would take time, and Tesla couldn't afford delays. He could introduce new work-life balance initiatives, perhaps flexible hours, or even wellness programs, but that risked alienating the team that had always thrived under the current system. What are we going to do, Elon? Jack Peterson, a senior manager, asked during one of the meetings. If we slow down, even for a moment, we risk losing everything we've worked for. We'll lose market share, and worse, we'll lose credibility with our investors. Musk stared at Jack, the weight of the decision before him pressing heavily on his shoulders. He knew Jack had a point. Tesla's stock was riding high, and investors had high expectations. Slowing down meant risk, and risk meant failure. But as he reflected on the toll it was taking on his employees, the choice didn't seem so clear-cut anymore. We're not just building cars, Musk replied slowly, his voice tight with the tension that had been building in his mind. We're building something that will change the world. But we can't do that if we're burning out our people. If we lose our people, we lose the vision. We need to find a way to balance innovation with sustainability. We need to find a way to take care of our team. A murmur of agreement passed through the room. Everyone in the meeting understood the magnitude of the decision Musk was grappling with. But the questions remained: how could they push forward without sacrificing the very people who had gotten them this far? The signs of a deeper crisis were becoming more apparent. In the last few weeks, several employees had quietly left the company. They hadn't spoken about burnout or stress in their exit interviews, but the message was clear: something wasn't working. And as the days went on, the issue didn't just concern a few disgruntled workers. It had become a cultural shift. Elon had always prided himself on Tesla's unique culture, a culture where failure was not an option and where employees were expected to push themselves to the limit. But now, he saw how that very culture might have gone too far. It was a culture that didn't leave room for people to admit they were struggling. It was a culture that demanded perfection at all costs. And while that might have worked in the early days of the company, it was clear it was no longer sustainable. Musk found himself questioning everything. Should he change the way Tesla operated? Should he slow down the pace, even temporarily, to allow the team to breathe? Or should he continue down the path of relentless ambition, knowing that every moment of hesitation could cost them everything? That night, as Musk lay awake in bed, he couldn't shake the thoughts racing through his mind. The question was no longer just about the company's future. It was about the future of the people who had helped create it. Tesla had always been driven by the idea that their work would change the world, but was it worth it if that world came at the cost of the people who built it? There was no easy answer. The stakes were higher than ever, and every decision felt like it carried the weight of the future. The days after the meeting with his executive team felt like a whirlwind for Elon Musk. Every decision seemed to lead to another set of questions, and the weight of the problem pressed harder with each passing hour. The pressure to innovate and deliver on Tesla's promises to the world was immense. But it wasn't just the world he had to consider, it was the people who had put everything into Tesla, often at the cost of their personal well-being. Musk had always believed that ambition and hard work were the cornerstones of success. He had built Tesla from the ground up, defying the odds and challenging the automotive industry. But now, as he looked at the faces of his employees, he wondered if his single-minded focus had blinded him to the human cost. The decision wasn't easy, but Musk knew something had to change. He needed a way to push Tesla forward without pushing his employees to the brink. For the first time in years, he found himself torn between two competing desires: the relentless drive to transform the world and the growing need to protect his people from the stress that had become synonymous with their success. It was at a meeting in the Tesla cafeteria, a rare casual setting for a man known for his intense work ethic, that Musk found an unexpected ally. Mary Thompson, a longtime senior manager at Tesla, had been with the company almost from the beginning. She was known for her no-nonsense approach to leadership, but also for her empathetic nature, a rare combination in the high-pressure world of Tesla. "Elon, I've been thinking," Mary said as they sat down together. "We're pushing our people hard. I can see it in their eyes. They're giving their all, but there's only so much they can take. If we want to continue this journey, we need to find a way to balance the workload. I'm not saying we slow down completely, but we need to change the way we're approaching things." Musk looked at her, his mind already working. "I know we can't just stop. We're on the verge of something huge. But what if we set different kinds of goals? Goals that don't just focus on output but also on well-being and sustainability?" Mary nodded thoughtfully. "Exactly. We can create a culture that supports people. Yes, we keep the same high standards, but we need to acknowledge that people can't work at full throttle without burning out. They need time to recharge. And we need to be transparent about our expectations, realistic about what's achievable, and what isn't." Musk sat back, feeling a flicker of hope. For the first time in days, he felt as though he might have found the right path. Maybe, just maybe, there was a way to drive Tesla forward without losing the very people who had made it all possible. The next few weeks were a blur of planning and action. Musk and Mary worked tirelessly to develop a new strategy, a strategy that would prioritize employee well-being without compromising Tesla's ambitious goals. The new vision for Tesla wasn't just about producing the world's best electric vehicles, it was about creating a company where employees could thrive while pushing the limits of innovation. The plan was multifaceted. 1. Redefining success metrics. Instead of focusing solely on productivity and speed, Musk proposed a system that would measure success based on both output and employee satisfaction. This meant prioritizing mental health, work-life balance, and giving employees the time and space they needed to recharge. 2. Increase support for employees. Tesla would implement wellness programs, offering counseling services, stress relief activities, and mandatory time off to ensure that employees had the support they needed to thrive. 3. More flexibility. In the world of Tesla, flexibility was a luxury that had always seemed out of reach. But Musk knew it was time for change. Employees would be given more flexibility in their schedules, allowing them to balance their demanding jobs with personal time. 4. Leadership accountability. Musk also recognized that real change would only come if leadership set the example. He committed to taking a more hands-on role in fostering the new company culture. This meant checking in with employees, ensuring that the new policies were being implemented, and holding himself and other leaders accountable for the well-being of their teams. It was a bold shift, one that would shake the very foundation of the company. The challenge would be in the execution. How could they ensure that the new policies were truly being embraced, and not just seen as another corporate initiative? Musk knew this was not a one-time fix but a long-term commitment. Not everyone at Tesla was on board with the changes. As with any shift in company culture, there were those who resisted. Some believed that slowing down even a little would undermine everything they had worked for. Tesla had been successful because it had embraced the mentality of fail fast, fail often, the mentality that pushed employees to take risks and sacrifice personal time for the greater good of the company. There were murmurs in the halls of Tesla headquarters. Some employees wondered if Musk was losing his edge. Others feared that the company's relentless pursuit of greatness was being diluted by an unnecessary focus on well-being. You can't just hand out wellness programs and expect the same level of commitment, one senior engineer grumbled during a coffee break. Tesla has been successful because we push the envelope, because we're all in, all the time. This new direction feels like it's caving to the pressure. Musk knew that the road ahead wouldn't be easy. The culture he had built at Tesla was based on a single principle: success at any cost. But now, he was questioning whether that cost was too high. The fight was just beginning, and Musk had to convince his most loyal employees that the changes were not a sign of weakness but a necessary evolution. As Tesla began to implement its new vision, the first real test came sooner than anyone expected. The company was in the middle of launching its next-generation vehicle, and the deadlines were tight. It was the perfect storm: too many projects, too little time, and a team that was already struggling with the new changes. The situation escalated quickly when a major delay in the production line pushed the launch schedule back by several weeks. Some of the team members, still adjusting to the new policies, were stressed, others were frustrated. The pressure was mounting, and it seemed as though the old Tesla mentality was creeping back in: work harder, push more, and sacrifice for the cause. Musk found himself standing in the middle of the production floor, watching the chaos unfold. This was the moment of truth. Would the new changes hold up under pressure, or would the company fall back into its old habits? The pressure in the Tesla production facility was palpable. Every employee knew that the new strategies were in place, but as the delays continued and stress levels peaked, it felt as though the old Tesla mentality was pulling them back. The tension was rising, and with it, the sense that something had to give. Elon Musk stood at the heart of it all, watching from a distance, feeling the strain of a decision that was no longer just about business, it was about the future of his people and his company. It was during this intense period that Elon received a phone call that would forever change the course of the company's direction. The call came early one morning. Musk had barely slept the night before, his mind racing with the stress of the ongoing delays. His assistant's voice crackled through the speaker. "Mr. Musk, it's urgent. A senior employee has just left a suicide note. She's gone." The words felt like a punch to the gut. Musk stood frozen for a moment, the weight of what he was hearing sinking in. His mind was clouded with disbelief. A Tesla employee, a valued member of the team, had reached a breaking point so severe that they had taken their own life. The news hit him like a storm. He could barely process it. This wasn't just a business crisis. This was personal. For all the technological triumphs and advancements Tesla had achieved, it suddenly felt as though they had lost sight of the most fundamental thing: the humanity of their team. Musk drove to the site of the incident, his mind in turmoil. When he arrived, the atmosphere in the office was somber, the air thick with sadness. Employees whispered quietly among themselves, too afraid to speak openly about what had just occurred. The weight of the loss was undeniable. He was led to the office of Sarah Jenkins, the senior designer who had taken her own life. Sarah had been one of the brightest minds at Tesla, known for her creativity and commitment to the company. Everyone knew her as someone who pushed boundaries in her work, but it was clear now that the weight of expectations had pushed her beyond her limits. Elon stood there for a long time, staring at Sarah's empty desk, the chair that would never again be occupied. His heart ached for her. But more than that, he felt a deep sense of guilt. He had been part of the machine that had driven Sarah, and so many others, to their breaking point. His decision to prioritize work and productivity, the very thing that had once propelled Tesla to the top, had also created an environment where employees were afraid to show weakness, to speak out about their struggles. Now, one of their own was gone. And Elon Musk couldn't help but wonder how many others were silently battling their own demons. Later that evening, Elon stood outside Tesla's headquarters, gazing at the night sky. The stars above, so far away and yet so constant, seemed to mock him. He had built Tesla to change the world, to create something that would alter the course of history. But now he realized that in the process, he had lost sight of what mattered most, the people who had helped him build it. Elon had always believed that success required sacrifice. But standing there, alone with his thoughts, he understood the true cost of that belief. Sarah Jenkins wasn't the first, and she wouldn't be the last. If he didn't make a change, Tesla could lose not just a few employees, but everything it had worked for. He couldn't let that happen. It was clear that this was the emotional climax of the story, the point at which Elon Musk faced the full weight of the choices he had made. The ambition that had driven him and Tesla had come at a steep cost. Now, it was time for him to make a decision that could either save his company or tear it apart. The next day, Elon called an emergency meeting with his executive team. He arrived at the conference room, his face drawn with exhaustion. His thoughts were scattered, but his resolve was clear. He had made up his mind. "I'm not going to pretend that everything is okay," Musk began, his voice steady but somber. "What happened to Sarah was a tragedy. And we can't just keep going like this, pretending everything is fine. We've been too focused on speed, on production, on meeting deadlines at the expense of our people. That ends today." The room was silent. His team, many of whom had been with him for years, exchanged looks. They knew Elon wasn't one to back down, but they also knew how deep this cut ran for him. "I know this company has always been about pushing limits," Musk continued, "but now, we're going to shift our focus. We will push limits, but we will do it in a way that supports our people. We're going to create a new culture, one that values mental health, work-life balance, and, most importantly, the well-being of everyone who works here. It's no longer just about what we create, it's about how we create it and who we become in the process." The room nodded in agreement. It wasn't just a decision, it was a turning point. Musk had made his choice. He would take on this new challenge, not just for the company, but for the people who had trusted him with their careers, their futures. He was no longer just a CEO, he was a leader who needed to lead by example. This was his reckoning. In the weeks that followed, Musk took immediate steps to implement the changes he had promised. Tesla began to roll out wellness initiatives, including mandatory mental health days, counseling services, and programs that encouraged employees to take regular breaks throughout the day. Work schedules were restructured to allow for more flexibility, and a new emphasis was placed on quality over quantity. While the changes were met with some resistance, it became clear that Musk was committed to the new direction. His leadership was no longer defined by relentless ambition alone, it was also defined by empathy and understanding. The road ahead wasn't easy. There would still be struggles, setbacks, and tough decisions. But Elon Musk had learned an invaluable lesson: true leadership wasn't about how much you could demand from your people, it was about how you supported them when they needed it most. In the weeks that followed the shocking loss of Sarah Jenkins, the atmosphere at Tesla began to shift. There was a quiet determination in the air, as if everyone was waiting for the moment when they could truly see the fruits of Elon Musk's promise. Would this new direction work? Could Tesla continue to lead in innovation while simultaneously fostering a healthy, sustainable work environment? The first few days after Musk's declaration were filled with meetings, strategy sessions, and an outpouring of feedback from employees. They were eager to see how the changes would be implemented, but many were also hesitant. For years, Tesla had thrived on an atmosphere of relentless drive and sacrifice. Could they really transform into a company that valued balance without compromising their position at the cutting edge of technology? Elon, for the first time, was faced with the challenge of not just managing a company but guiding a cultural revolution. He had made the decision to put people first, now he had to make sure it wasn't just a corporate slogan, but a true transformation. Musk's first step in his journey of change was a series of town hall meetings where he addressed the employees directly. These were not the usual corporate briefings, where the focus was on targets, numbers, and projections. Instead, Elon stood before the employees of Tesla with a new vulnerability. He admitted the mistakes he had made. He acknowledged the burden he had placed on his team for so long, and how that had led them down a dangerous path. "I've always said that the mission is everything, that we're going to change the world. But I've realized that we cannot change the world unless we first change how we treat the people who are trying to make that happen. You, the employees of Tesla, are the most important part of this mission. And from now on, we will prioritize your well-being just as much as we prioritize innovation," Musk said, his voice firm yet heartfelt. The room was silent as employees processed his words. Musk wasn't asking for forgiveness. He wasn't apologizing in the traditional sense. Instead, he was taking full responsibility for the path Tesla had walked, and now, he was calling for a collective effort to walk a new path. And they would. The new plan would not be easy, but it was necessary. The first major step in the new direction was the launch of the Tesla Wellness Program. Musk had been adamant that mental health, work-life balance, and stress reduction would be central to the company's future. The program was carefully designed, with a variety of services and resources for employees. It included counseling sessions, weekly group check-ins, yoga and meditation classes, and the option to take mental health days without any stigma. To make it even more meaningful, Musk personally took part in some of these sessions. He wanted to show his team that he wasn't just asking them to change, he was walking the walk, too. One afternoon, he joined a meditation session with a group of engineers. It was an unusual sight. Elon Musk, usually the picture of intensity, sitting cross-legged on a mat with his eyes closed. At first, the employees were hesitant, unsure of how to behave with their high-powered CEO in such an unfamiliar setting. But as the session progressed, they began to relax. Elon was just like them, trying to find peace in the chaos of their daily lives. After the session, Musk stood up and addressed the group. "I know it seems strange that I'm here, doing this with you," he said, smiling. "But I want you to understand something. Tesla can't thrive if you're all burning out. If you're not at your best, neither is Tesla. This is not just about being productive, this is about being healthy, being happy, and being whole." The employees were moved. For many, this was the first time they had seen Elon in such a vulnerable state. It wasn't about performance metrics or the next big launch, it was about them, as people. At first, there was resistance. Some employees, particularly those who had been with Tesla since its early days, struggled with the idea of slowing down or taking time off. They had built Tesla on the belief that success required extreme sacrifices, and changing that belief felt like betraying everything they had worked for. But gradually, over time, even the most skeptical employees began to see the benefits. Workloads became more manageable, and employees started taking the time they needed to recharge without fear of being judged. The new policies created an environment of transparency, where it was okay to admit that you were overwhelmed or needed a break. The results didn't come immediately, but they came. Productivity began to stabilize. Creativity surged, and employees felt more energized and motivated. Tesla was still pushing boundaries, still working at the forefront of technology, but now they were doing it with a renewed sense of purpose. Elon Musk had learned an invaluable lesson: a company's true strength doesn't just lie in innovation, it lies in its people. And when those people are nurtured, supported, and valued, they can achieve extraordinary things together. One quiet evening, as Musk sat alone in his office, he took a moment to reflect on how far Tesla had come. He thought back to the relentless pace they had maintained for so long, the years of burnout, the pressure to be perfect. And then, in the silence, he thought about Sarah Jenkins. Her loss had been a wake-up call, but it was also the catalyst for change. If it hadn't been for that tragic event, Musk might never have stopped to consider the cost of success, not just for the company, but for the people who made it all possible. He realized that, in the end, this was the true test of leadership. It wasn't about how many cars Tesla could produce, how many innovations they could bring to market, or how fast they could grow. It was about the people who made all of those things happen. Elon knew that there would still be tough times ahead, that the road to a healthier, more sustainable Tesla would be long. But for the first time in years, he felt hopeful. He had found a way to keep his vision alive while honoring the humanity of his employees. And that, he knew, was a victory in itself. As the months went by, the changes at Tesla began to take root. The company flourished in ways that no one had anticipated. The new approach to leadership and employee well-being became a model for other companies in the industry. Tesla was still the cutting-edge leader in electric vehicles, but now it was also known for its commitment to a sustainable, humane work environment. Musk continued to lead with a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that the true success of Tesla wasn't just in its products or profits, it was in the people who made it all possible. And as Tesla moved forward, it did so with a sense of unity and understanding that would guide it for years to come. The company had emerged from a crisis stronger, more resilient, and more human than ever before. Months had passed since Elon Musk's emotional realization that the true strength of Tesla was not just in its products or technology but in the people who made it all possible. The wellness initiatives were taking root, and employees were beginning to feel the tangible benefits of the company's new direction. But what about the broader impact? Could this shift in Tesla's corporate culture change the industry as a whole? As it turned out, it wasn't just Tesla's employees who took notice of Musk's transformation, so did other companies in Silicon Valley and beyond. The tech world, known for its cutthroat culture and high burnout rates, was watching Tesla closely, waiting to see if this radical shift in leadership would truly work. Elon knew that this wasn't just about Tesla anymore. It was about changing the game for an entire industry. It was about proving that a company could be both cutting-edge and compassionate, that success didn't have to come at the cost of mental health and employee well-being. Tesla had always been a trailblazer in innovation, now, it had the chance to trailblaze in corporate culture as well. One late afternoon, Elon stood before a room full of executives and leaders from other tech companies who had gathered for an exclusive event at Tesla's headquarters. The meeting was meant to be about new trends in the electric vehicle market, but Elon had a different message he wanted to convey. Tesla has always been about challenging the status quo, about doing things differently, he began, his voice steady, but the conviction was unmistakable. But we've realized that innovation can't just be about the next big thing or the fastest car. It's also about creating a culture where people thrive. We've seen what happens when you push too hard, when you treat employees as machines rather than human beings. It's time for a change. The room fell silent as Musk continued. I'm not asking for everyone to follow Tesla's lead. But I am asking you to think about the people who work for you. Are they being pushed to the breaking point? Are we creating environments where they can succeed without sacrificing their health, their happiness, their well-being? We need to start thinking about the long term, not just in terms of the company's bottom line, but in terms of the people who make it all happen. The response was mixed, but there was no denying that Elon's words had struck a chord. Many executives, particularly those from traditional industries, were skeptical. They were used to the high-pressure environment that had become the hallmark of Silicon Valley. But there were others, younger executives and leaders from companies like Google, Apple, and even smaller startups, who nodded along, intrigued by Elon's message. This was the beginning of something bigger. Musk knew that Tesla could no longer just focus on its internal culture, it had to become a beacon of change for the entire tech industry. The media's response to Elon's speech and the changes taking place within Tesla was swift and dramatic. News outlets from around the world began covering Tesla's transformation, and public opinion began to shift. Musk, once seen as a relentless taskmaster and eccentric billionaire, was now being praised for his empathy and willingness to confront the darker side of Silicon Valley's culture. But with the praise came skepticism. Critics wondered if Tesla's shift in focus would result in a loss of innovation or productivity. After all, for years, the company had been known for its aggressive growth and pioneering work in electric vehicles. Could it still maintain its leadership in the industry if it took a softer approach? Elon knew the criticism would come. He had always been comfortable with skepticism. But this time, he was prepared to fight back, not with data and performance metrics, but with the undeniable results of his new leadership approach. He was confident that Tesla's focus on employee well-being would ultimately lead to even greater innovation. After all, happy, healthy employees were more productive, more creative, and more invested in the company's success. Despite the growing support for Tesla's new approach, there were challenges ahead. The road to transforming the tech industry's corporate culture was never going to be easy. For one, many companies had been operating under the same high-pressure mentality for years. The shift Elon had introduced was a radical departure from what had been considered normal. As Tesla moved forward with its new initiatives, Elon faced pushback from some of the most entrenched corners of the industry. Competitors continued to view the soft approach as a weakness. In private boardrooms, there were murmurs of doubt. Could Tesla maintain its cutting-edge innovation while also focusing on its employees' well-being? Was the company's newfound emphasis on compassion just a trend, a momentary blip in the relentless march of progress? But Elon didn't let the doubt sway him. He remained focused on the bigger picture. He knew that the challenge ahead wasn't just about making Tesla a better company, it was about making the world of work a better place for everyone, no matter where they worked. Months later, the early signs of success were becoming clear. Tesla's innovation continued to move forward, and the company's product launches were still hitting their marks. In fact, the launch of the new Model X saw the company's best sales yet, with customers praising the vehicle's design, sustainability, and advanced technology. But what was even more remarkable was the internal feedback from Tesla's employees. Turnover rates had dropped significantly, and employee satisfaction had skyrocketed. Employees reported feeling more valued, more supported, and more motivated to contribute to the company's mission. They were no longer working under the constant pressure of burnout and exhaustion. Instead, they were motivated by a shared sense of purpose and a belief in Tesla's vision, not just for the future of electric vehicles, but for the future of work itself. Elon saw this success not as a victory over his critics, but as a confirmation that the path he had chosen was the right one. His decision to change Tesla's culture had not only helped the company survive, it had helped it thrive. And this, he believed, was the true testament to the power of prioritizing people. Elon's bold move didn't just change Tesla, it began to influence the entire tech industry. Other companies started to take notice of the results Tesla was seeing. Some, inspired by Musk's willingness to embrace change, began implementing their own wellness programs and rethinking the work-life balance in their organizations. Within a year, the term, Tesla culture, began to circulate in business circles. Companies from around the world began to send their executives to Tesla's headquarters to learn about the company's new approach. Musk had inadvertently sparked a revolution, one that would spread far beyond the walls of his own company. Elon Musk's transformation from a relentless CEO to a compassionate leader was not just about one company or one industry. It was a call to action for all business leaders to reconsider what success truly meant. It was a message that echoed through boardrooms across the globe: success could still be achieved without sacrificing humanity. Leadership didn't have to be about domination or control, it could be about inspiration, support, and a deep respect for the people who made it all possible. Elon Musk had become more than just the face of Tesla. He had become a symbol of a new era of leadership, one that was driven by empathy, collaboration, and a commitment to the well-being of employees. As Tesla's transformation continued to unfold, it began to spark something much larger than just internal changes within the company. Musk's efforts to make Tesla a model of employee well-being, while maintaining its commitment to innovation, began to ripple through the entire tech industry, and soon, beyond. Business leaders worldwide were paying attention, not just to Tesla's success in sales and technology, but to how the company was redefining the workplace itself. At first, it was a quiet revolution, but soon it became clear that Musk's experiment had the potential to become a movement. In the months following Tesla's shift, more companies began to adopt similar wellness initiatives. In Silicon Valley, once a hub of high-pressure, around-the-clock work environments, executives started to take note of the tangible benefits of Musk's leadership style. The narrative that success requires sacrifice began to lose ground to the idea that success can thrive when people are supported. Other companies started implementing mental health programs, improving work-life balance, and introducing wellness policies that encouraged employees to take regular breaks and vacations without fear of judgment. Companies like Google, Facebook, and Microsoft started to shift their focus toward building cultures that promoted health and happiness rather than pure productivity. Musk was invited to speak at several business conferences and gatherings, where he shared his vision for the future of work. He made it clear that his journey was not about becoming a softer leader, but rather about realizing that true innovation was impossible without a foundation of well-being. I've always said that Tesla's mission is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. But that mission cannot be achieved if the people behind it are burning out, Musk explained at a tech conference. It's not about slowing down. It's about changing the way we think about success. The media took notice, too. Articles flooded the business press, and commentators began to call it the Musk model. The broader public started to see Tesla not only as a leader in electric vehicles and technology but also as a pioneer in workplace culture. Employees from various industries were beginning to ask themselves, why can't our companies do this too? Back at Tesla, the changes continued to unfold. Inside the company, the shift was not just one of policy, but of leadership style. Elon Musk, once known for his all-consuming focus on work, began to delegate more. He still had a hand in every major decision, but he started trusting his team more. He encouraged open communication and made sure that everyone felt heard. The company's leadership structure became more collaborative. Leaders were trained to foster a sense of belonging and inclusion. Elon no longer felt the need to micromanage every project. Instead, he focused on guiding Tesla's vision and encouraging the team to take ownership of their roles. One of the most significant changes was the introduction of leadership days, where department heads would spend an entire day working directly with employees in a non-managerial capacity. These days allowed leaders to better understand the challenges their teams faced and helped foster a stronger sense of unity across the company. Employees began to speak more openly about their ideas and concerns, knowing that they would be heard. And as a result, innovation at Tesla didn't slow down, it flourished. The most remarkable aspect of this cultural shift was that it wasn't just confined to Tesla. While some companies were hesitant to follow Musk's lead, others saw the potential benefits of a more human-centric approach to leadership. Soon, large tech companies that had been known for their grind culture began taking steps to adopt similar practices. Apple, for instance, introduced its own version of wellness initiatives, offering employees flexible working hours and an increased focus on mental health. Google, already known for its employee perks, took the next step by integrating well-being as part of its mission. Instead of offering just the usual benefits, the company began to create spaces dedicated to relaxation and mindfulness throughout its campuses. This cultural change wasn't just happening in the US. By the end of the year, European companies like Volkswagen and Siemens had begun adopting similar policies, acknowledging that their employees' well-being was integral to achieving long-term success. As this transformation spread, one of the most powerful aspects of Musk's leadership became apparent: his willingness to show vulnerability. Musk was known for his stoic public persona, often projecting the image of an unshakable innovator. But as Tesla's culture shifted, Musk began to open up about his struggles and personal challenges. In interviews, he began discussing his own experiences with burnout and the toll it had taken on his life. He shared stories about how, in the early days of Tesla, he had put his work ahead of everything: his family, his health, and his own happiness. But now, he was determined to change that. "I've learned that being a leader doesn't mean you have to be perfect," he said during an interview with a major news outlet. "It means being willing to be imperfect, to admit when you're wrong, and to learn from your mistakes. I can't expect my employees to thrive if I don't lead by example." This newfound vulnerability resonated with people. It made Elon seem more human, more relatable. He was no longer the distant CEO of a tech empire, he was a leader who understood the struggles of his employees, because he had faced those same challenges himself. As the years went by, the culture at Tesla continued to evolve, but it never lost sight of its core mission: innovation with purpose. The company remained at the forefront of electric vehicle technology, creating cutting-edge designs that revolutionized the industry. Tesla's cars continued to lead the charge toward sustainable energy, and its influence on the market grew exponentially. But perhaps the most important legacy that Tesla would leave was not its vehicles or its technology. It was the company's commitment to creating a workplace that valued the well-being of its employees. Tesla's approach to leadership, focused on empathy, collaboration, and balance, became a model for others to follow. And as the tech industry continued to evolve, the ripple effect of Musk's leadership would be felt far beyond Tesla. The world of work was changing, and it was changing for the better. Businesses could no longer afford to treat their employees as expendable resources. They had to recognize that true success could only be achieved when people were treated with respect, dignity, and care. The success that Tesla had achieved through its new workplace culture had been met with overwhelming praise. The tech world had shifted, and other companies were beginning to follow suit, implementing their own wellness initiatives, mental health programs, and more human-centered management styles. But as is often the case in business, nothing lasts forever without being tested. And Tesla, a company known for pushing the limits of what was possible, would soon face a challenge that threatened to undo everything they had worked for. It was a regular Tuesday morning when the storm hit. Tesla's stock price had been climbing steadily for months, and production was at an all-time high. Elon Musk's new leadership style had paid off in ways no one could have predicted, but a sudden, unexpected crisis struck that no one had foreseen, a massive supply chain disruption that threatened to delay key components for Tesla's upcoming vehicle launches. At the same time, a critical recall for one of Tesla's most popular models was announced, further complicating the situation. For many, it was a perfect storm, one that could undo Tesla's recent success and damage its reputation for good. As the crisis unfolded, the pressure mounted. The media, which had once praised Musk's leadership for transforming Tesla into a model of corporate well-being, was now waiting to see how he would respond. Critics were quick to speculate. Would Musk revert to his old, relentless ways in the face of adversity, pushing his employees beyond their limits to solve the crisis? Or would he stick to the compassionate leadership style he had recently adopted, potentially risking even more damage to Tesla's reputation? Elon knew that the eyes of the world were upon him, but this was more than just a public relations challenge. It was a test of everything he had worked so hard to build. How could he balance the immediate pressure of the crisis with his newfound commitment to employee well-being? Could he continue to lead with empathy in the face of such high stakes? For the first time in years, Elon felt a familiar sense of doubt creeping in. His mind raced through the options. He could push harder, demand more from his team, implement 80-hour work weeks, and focus only on the immediate results. But was that the kind of leader he had become? He couldn't deny the weight of the decision. Tesla was on the line, and so was his reputation as a visionary leader. But he also couldn't forget the lessons he had learned in recent months, about vulnerability, trust, and the importance of balance. As the days passed and the pressure mounted, Elon knew he had a choice to make. Rather than resorting to panic or pushing his team too hard, Elon took a different approach. In a company-wide meeting, he addressed the employees directly. He didn't offer easy answers or empty promises. Instead, he acknowledged the gravity of the situation, while reiterating his commitment to the values that had become the cornerstone of Tesla's culture. "This is a critical time for Tesla," Elon began, his voice steady but filled with determination. "We're facing a challenge, but I want to remind everyone that we've built something extraordinary here. We've created a company that is not just about technology, it's about people. It's about how we support each other in times of adversity." Elon went on to outline a clear plan to address the immediate supply chain issues and the recall. He reassured his employees that they would have the resources and time needed to solve the problem, without the expectation of sacrificing their well-being. "We will tackle this problem head-on," he said, "but we will do it together, as a team. And we will do it in a way that respects each and every one of you." Rather than demanding that his employees work around the clock, Elon emphasized the importance of teamwork, collaboration, and strategic problem-solving. He encouraged employees to take breaks, recharge, and support one another. He even introduced additional mental health days, acknowledging that everyone needed time to regroup during such a stressful period. It didn't take long for the impact of Elon's leadership to take shape. Employees at Tesla, many of whom had been feeling the strain of the past few months, rallied around the new plan. There was a sense of solidarity in the air as teams worked together to solve the challenges ahead. Tesla's engineers, supply chain experts, and production teams worked around the clock, but they did so with a renewed sense of purpose and focus. They were no longer running on fumes. Instead, they were committed to solving the crisis, knowing they were supported and respected. The company's leadership, though under immense pressure, continued to prioritize mental health and well-being, ensuring that employees had the resources they needed to cope with the stress of the situation. Teams were encouraged to communicate openly and honestly, and the usual, perfectionist, mentality that had once been a hallmark of Tesla was replaced by a more collaborative, solution-focused approach. What emerged from the crisis was a new level of unity within Tesla. Employees from every department were working together like never before. The culture of transparency, trust, and well-being that Musk had instilled in Tesla's workforce made all the difference. They weren't just solving a problem, they were doing it as a team, united by a shared vision and a commitment to each other's success. When the crisis was finally resolved, it was nothing short of remarkable. Tesla had weathered the storm, and despite the challenges, the company had emerged stronger. The recall was managed with professionalism, and the supply chain disruptions were handled in a way that minimized the impact on Tesla's upcoming launches. In fact, Tesla's stock price rebounded even higher than before, a testament to the strength of the company's leadership and the resilience of its employees. Elon Musk's response to the crisis had not only salvaged the company's immediate future, but it had also solidified his legacy as a leader who could balance the demands of innovation with the needs of his people. He had proven that true leadership wasn't about pushing harder during tough times, it was about leading with empathy, integrity, and a commitment to the well-being of the team. In the years that followed, the impact of the crisis and its resolution reverberated throughout Tesla and beyond. Elon Musk's approach to leadership had not only saved the company, it had set a new standard for what it meant to be a leader in the 21st century. Tesla continued to innovate, launching new models and pushing the boundaries of electric vehicle technology. But perhaps even more importantly, it became a beacon of what the future of work could look like, an environment where people were not just valued for their output but as individuals with unique needs and aspirations. Musk's commitment to creating a workplace that prioritized mental health, well-being, and employee development became the new gold standard in the tech world. Other industries, once skeptical of the idea of prioritizing people over profits, began to follow Tesla's lead. As Elon Musk stood on the stage for a keynote address years later, he looked back on the crisis and smiled. Tesla's culture had not only weathered the storm, it had emerged stronger, more united, and more committed to making the world a better place. And with that, Musk knew that Tesla's true legacy was just beginning. As Tesla surged through its challenges and emerged as one of the most innovative companies in the world, Elon Musk found himself at the center of a much larger narrative. His leadership philosophy, once seen as a distant dream by other tech CEOs, was now shaping the very framework of modern business culture. Tesla's transformation into a company that balanced groundbreaking technology with an unwavering commitment to its employees had far-reaching implications, not just for the tech industry but for businesses globally. Musk's leadership had undergone a profound evolution, from the hard-driving, almost relentless figure he once was to a more empathetic, human-centered leader. His ability to navigate through crises with composure and integrity had shown the world that effective leadership didn't mean sacrificing human values for profits. Rather, it demonstrated that people, if supported and respected, could push the boundaries of what was possible. But while Musk's new leadership style was praised by many, it was also under constant scrutiny. The question persisted, was his transformation real, or was it merely a temporary response to the pressures of his growing empire? Could a company like Tesla, one built on disruption, continue to thrive in an environment that valued mental health, well-being, and work-life balance? Despite the overwhelming support from employees and the impressive recovery from the crisis, Musk couldn't help but feel the weight of the pressure bearing down on him once again. Tesla had become an icon of change, and with that came an even higher level of expectation. Could he maintain the delicate balance between the well-being of his employees and the relentless pursuit of innovation that had made Tesla the powerhouse it was? Musk spent many sleepless nights reflecting on these questions. His leadership had led Tesla through one of its most critical periods, and yet, he felt an unsettling tension between two competing ideas, the need to drive forward, relentlessly, as he had always done, and the need to create a more sustainable, humane workplace. During one particularly quiet evening, as he sat in his office overlooking the Tesla factory floor, Musk questioned the very foundation of his leadership. Was it possible to keep this balance over the long term, especially as the company continued to grow? Could the transformation he had set in motion become more than just a temporary shift, a cultural evolution that could be sustained over time? As if to answer his own doubts, Musk called a meeting with his closest executives the next morning. He gathered his leadership team to discuss what came next for Tesla. In the meeting, Elon Musk laid out his vision for the next phase of Tesla's evolution. The company had survived the storm, but now it needed to grow sustainably. He was committed to ensuring that Tesla remained a leader in innovation, but he didn't want to return to the same culture that had once prioritized burnout and overwork. "We've changed the way Tesla operates," Musk began, addressing his team with characteristic intensity. "But this is just the beginning. The real question is how we can continue to push the boundaries of what's possible, while also making sure that the values we've established, empathy, collaboration, and well-being, become an inherent part of our DNA." He went on to propose several initiatives to further solidify Tesla's role as a leader in both innovation and corporate responsibility. One of the key ideas was to set up a new program called Tesla Future Leaders. This program would be designed not only to identify the next generation of leadership within Tesla but also to instill in them the same values that had helped the company succeed during its most challenging period. The Tesla Future Leaders program would be a multi-year initiative, focusing on leadership development, emotional intelligence, and mental health awareness. The goal was to create a new wave of leaders who could carry Tesla's culture forward for years to come. Musk also proposed the introduction of a more structured approach to work-life balance. While Tesla had always promoted flexibility, he wanted to take it a step further by offering employees the ability to choose schedules that best suited their personal lives, without compromising their contributions to the company. This shift would not only help Tesla retain top talent but also ensure that employees remained motivated and engaged in the long term. As the meeting concluded, Musk felt a renewed sense of clarity. His transformation as a leader was not just about surviving difficult times, it was about shaping the future, not just for Tesla but for the world. The changes happening at Tesla weren't just confined to the company itself. Tesla's cultural transformation was having a ripple effect that was beginning to influence the entire global workforce. Leaders from other industries, from finance to healthcare, were looking to Musk's leadership for inspiration. A growing number of companies began adopting similar practices, seeking to build work environments that were not only productive but also supportive of mental health and employee well-being. Even companies that had long been regarded as traditional began to see the value in Musk's approach to leadership. In boardrooms around the world, discussions about employee wellness and corporate responsibility began to gain serious traction. Business leaders were starting to understand that fostering a positive company culture was not a luxury, it was essential for long-term success. Tesla's emphasis on transparency, flexibility, and emotional support became a blueprint for others. The company's success in navigating one of the most challenging crises in its history had proven that taking care of employees was not just the right thing to do, it was the smart thing to do. Employees who felt supported were more productive, more innovative, and more loyal to the company. This shift had far-reaching effects. Over time, other industries, particularly in tech, automotive, and even manufacturing, began rethinking their corporate cultures, taking cues from Tesla's approach. The transformation in the workplace was not just a trend, it was a movement. As Tesla entered a new chapter, Musk's vision for the company had been forever altered. What had begun as an exploration of employee wellness and leadership transformation had evolved into a full-scale redefinition of what it meant to lead in the modern era. Musk's journey from a CEO known for his tireless work ethic to a leader who prioritized the well-being of his team was nothing short of remarkable. And yet, he knew that the work was far from over. The road ahead was still uncertain, but one thing was clear: Tesla was no longer just a company that built electric cars. It was a company that was shaping the future of work itself. Looking out over the sprawling Tesla campus, Elon Musk felt a sense of quiet satisfaction. The transformation was real, and it had been hard-earned. But it was also only the beginning. The world was watching, and Tesla's journey had only just begun. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? Tesla's transformation was already making waves across the globe, but as the company grew larger, so did the challenges it faced. The once small startup had become a tech giant, attracting new talent, more investors, and an ever-expanding global audience. With the meteoric rise in size and influence, Elon Musk faced the daunting task of maintaining Tesla's foundational values while ensuring the company continued to innovate and scale effectively. It was one thing to run a company with a few thousand employees, but now, Tesla was rapidly approaching a workforce of over 100,000 people. How could Musk ensure that the spirit of collaboration, empathy, and well-being remained intact as the company expanded into new regions, launched new products, and ventured into previously unexplored markets? In the heart of Silicon Valley, Musk's office had changed from the small, cluttered space it once was to a more polished, expansive suite. As he sat at his desk, looking out at the sprawling Tesla campus, he couldn't help but feel a bit of unease. Tesla had grown beyond anything he had ever imagined when he founded the company. What had started as a singular mission to disrupt the automotive industry had now turned into a global force. And with that success came new complications, chief among them, the challenge of preserving the company's soul as it expanded. The newly hired executives were highly talented, yet some came from more traditional corporate environments where the emphasis on employee well-being was far less pronounced. For some, the culture shift at Tesla felt like a strange and sometimes uncomfortable departure from the old way of doing things. Elon knew that maintaining Tesla's identity was crucial for the company's continued success, but the increasing pressure to meet investor expectations and deliver consistent growth was beginning to weigh on him. He had worked tirelessly to create a workplace that cared for its employees, but could such a culture thrive as the company scaled to unprecedented heights? Tesla's leadership team was growing, and with it came the need for a more structured, formalized approach to decision-making. Elon's leadership style, once defined by direct, hands-on involvement, was now facing a shift. As the company expanded, he was being pulled in many directions at once, leading Tesla's ventures into space exploration with SpaceX, managing autonomous vehicle technology, overseeing AI development, and dealing with external pressures like regulations, investors, and the growing competition. With so many priorities on his plate, Musk began to rely more heavily on his C-suite team to manage the day-to-day operations. However, this raised new questions about Tesla's core values. Would the executives, many of whom had little experience with the culture of wellness and empathy that Musk had championed, be able to carry the torch? Musk needed to find a way to scale his vision without losing what had made Tesla unique. He decided to introduce a series of leadership development programs aimed at creating a unified vision of Tesla's culture among the executive team. He worked closely with his HR department and leadership coaches to create a training module that would help senior executives understand the company's values, the importance of empathy, and how to maintain Tesla's commitment to employee well-being even as the company grew. It wasn't easy. Some executives were reluctant to embrace the shift, particularly those who had come from more traditional companies where long hours and high-pressure environments were the norm. But Musk was unwavering in his commitment to Tesla's culture. "We can scale without compromising who we are," he said in one of his internal communications to the leadership team. "If we do this right, we'll not only lead in technology but in how we treat our people. That's what makes Tesla different." One of the key innovations in Musk's new approach to scaling Tesla was the implementation of Tesla huddles, small group meetings where employees, no matter their rank or role, could openly discuss challenges, ideas, and innovations. These huddles were a way of ensuring that even as Tesla expanded globally, employees would continue to feel connected, valued, and heard. The huddles became a hallmark of Tesla's new corporate culture, allowing employees to voice their opinions, ask questions, and raise concerns. These meetings not only fostered transparency but also encouraged a sense of community that extended beyond individual departments. Employees who once felt isolated or overwhelmed by the company's rapid growth now had a space where they could feel seen and heard. Musk was also mindful of the work-life balance issues that had been exacerbated by Tesla's growth. He knew that, as the company expanded, there would be a temptation to push employees harder and longer to meet ambitious targets. But rather than yielding to this pressure, Musk doubled down on Tesla's commitment to a more humane work environment. He introduced flexible working hours and remote options for employees who needed them, while also emphasizing the importance of taking breaks and recharging. As Tesla grew, so did the challenges of maintaining employee mental health. Aware of the increasing pressures on his team, Musk set up regular mental health check-ins as part of the company's new wellness programs. These were not just for those who were struggling but for everyone, ensuring that employees had a safe space to talk about their mental health without fear of judgment. Musk also introduced mindfulness and meditation sessions into the company's wellness initiatives. These sessions were designed to give employees tools for managing stress and staying focused. It was a forward-thinking move, one that placed a premium on emotional well-being as much as physical health. While some in the corporate world were skeptical of such initiatives, Tesla's success in maintaining its culture in the face of rapid growth proved that it was not only possible but essential for long-term success. Despite the challenges, Musk's vision for Tesla remained clear. The company was on the cutting edge of technology and innovation, but it was also a leader in building a workplace that supported its employees' emotional and mental well-being. As Tesla expanded into new markets, including Europe and Asia, the company's reputation as a progressive employer continued to grow. In boardrooms and business circles worldwide, people began to take notice of what Tesla had achieved. Elon Musk's transformation from a visionary entrepreneur to a compassionate, forward-thinking leader had made waves far beyond the walls of Tesla. It wasn't just about electric vehicles anymore, it was about creating a blueprint for the future of work. Musk had built Tesla into a company that didn't just prioritize profits and technology, it prioritized people. And that, he believed, was the true measure of success. Elon Musk's leadership transformation wasn't just limited to Tesla. The impact of his decisions reverberated through the tech industry and beyond, influencing how companies approached the delicate balance between productivity and employee well-being. As Tesla grew and continued to innovate, Musk's commitment to a more empathetic and transparent corporate culture became a model that other leaders and organizations began to admire, and, in many cases, emulate. Tesla's success was not only measured in the performance of its electric vehicles or its renewable energy solutions, it was also measured in the hearts and minds of its employees. The company had become a symbol of how a business could succeed without sacrificing its most valuable asset, its people. Musk, ever the visionary, had always known that the future of business was not just about pushing the envelope of technology, it was about understanding and supporting the human beings who made those innovations possible. As Tesla's corporate culture continued to evolve, Musk's leadership began to influence not only his own company but also the broader corporate world. Other tech giants took note, with CEOs and founders of companies from Silicon Valley to Wall Street reaching out to Musk for insights into how he had managed to transform Tesla so dramatically. At a tech conference in New York, Musk delivered a keynote that would later be remembered as a turning point in the way corporate culture was viewed. Innovation is not just about the next big breakthrough in technology, he said to a captivated audience. It's about how we treat our people. Technology doesn't innovate in a vacuum, it innovates because of the talent, the drive, and the passion of the individuals who make it happen. The room was full of executives who were used to the more traditional mindset that success was driven solely by numbers, deadlines, and the relentless pursuit of profit. Musk, however, had proven that a focus on well-being and human connection could yield a company that was not only financially successful but also a leader in innovation and employee satisfaction. This speech sparked a wave of reflection among CEOs and executives who had long resisted the idea that a company could thrive without pushing employees to their limits. They began to see that fostering a healthy work-life balance, investing in mental health, and creating a positive, inclusive environment weren't just nice-to-haves, they were essential to long-term success. Across the corporate landscape, change began to unfold. Executives at companies like Apple, Google, and Microsoft began incorporating elements of Tesla's workplace culture into their own organizations. These companies, which had long been leaders in the tech space, had witnessed the success of Tesla's hybrid approach and recognized that adopting similar practices could lead to stronger employee retention, increased morale, and higher productivity. At a leadership summit in Silicon Valley, one of Google's top executives discussed how the company had started offering employees more flexible hours, the option to work remotely, and even a focus on mental health support. Tesla's approach has inspired us, the executive remarked. We've seen firsthand that investing in people's emotional well-being isn't just the right thing to do, it's also good for business. But it wasn't just the tech giants that were taking note. Even traditional industries, including manufacturing, finance, and healthcare, began integrating wellness programs and employee-first strategies in the wake of Tesla's success. What had once seemed like an impossible model for scaling was now being adopted by companies of all sizes and sectors. Tesla had proven that a positive workplace culture didn't come at the expense of innovation, it was the foundation for it. As other companies sought to mirror this success, Musk's influence on corporate culture began to extend far beyond Tesla's doors. Despite the external accolades, Musk was still, at his core, a relentless dreamer and innovator. He had always known that his journey with Tesla was far from over. Even as other companies began to adopt aspects of Tesla's culture, Musk believed that there was still much more to accomplish. Sitting in his office, overlooking the Tesla campus, he reflected on his own journey as a leader. He had started out as the founder and CEO of a company that was in constant turmoil, juggling multiple ventures, and always at the edge of financial collapse. He had been known for his intense work ethic and the ability to push his team beyond their limits. However, through his own evolution, he had come to understand that leadership wasn't just about creating great products, it was about creating great people. Musk's focus had shifted from mere profitability to the well-being of his employees and the future of the workforce. Tesla was now not only the face of electric vehicles but the face of a new kind of leadership, one that valued human connection, mental health, and sustainable innovation. As Tesla expanded globally, Musk's influence reached new heights. He became a sought-after speaker, appearing at forums around the world, discussing everything from space exploration to the future of renewable energy and, most prominently, the future of work. His message was clear: the future of work would be defined by compassion, empathy, and innovation that was inclusive of everyone, from the ground level to the C-suite. But perhaps the most profound impact Musk had was on the next generation of entrepreneurs. Across the world, young tech leaders, inspired by his vision, began to question the traditional corporate structures that had once been seen as the gold standard. The Tesla effect had sparked a movement that was changing how business leaders viewed the relationship between profit and purpose. Musk had set a new standard for leadership, one that not only valued employee well-being but also sought to create a lasting positive impact on the world. He wasn't just building companies, he was building a legacy, a new wave of leadership that would inspire countless entrepreneurs for years to come. Tesla's story became a textbook example of how businesses could thrive by focusing on what truly mattered: people. As the company continued to grow and expand, so too did its impact on the workforce at large. It was no longer just about making the best car or the fastest rocket, it was about creating a culture where people could thrive, collaborate, and innovate together. Tesla's influence on the business world was undeniable, and the company continued to be a shining example of what was possible when human-centered leadership was at the heart of an organization. As the world moved forward into an increasingly complex and interconnected future, one thing was clear: the future of business was not just about the bottom line, but about the people who powered it. Tesla had been soaring to new heights, expanding its market share, increasing employee satisfaction, and influencing corporate cultures worldwide. But, as the saying goes, every rose has its thorn. The next few months would prove to be one of the most challenging periods for Musk and Tesla as they faced an unexpected crisis that threatened to undo everything they had worked for. It began subtly, like most problems do. A series of operational hiccups in the production lines at the Gigafactory in Nevada, mixed with a sudden slump in global stock markets, triggered a wave of concern within the company. Tesla's stock, once soaring high, started to dip steadily. Analysts began questioning the company's long-term viability. Media outlets, too, caught wind of the situation, stoking the fires of doubt about Musk's ability to handle Tesla's rapid growth while maintaining the quality and innovation the world had come to expect. Elon Musk, ever the determined visionary, had been pushing the envelope on multiple fronts. Tesla's ambitions to build autonomous driving capabilities were starting to gain momentum, but with it came increasing pressure to deliver. Investors, once enamored with Musk's ability to juggle multiple ventures simultaneously, now began to second-guess his focus on such a wide array of projects. As the stock price wavered and pressure mounted, the internal atmosphere at Tesla shifted. Employees, who had once felt empowered and supported by Musk's leadership, began to feel the strain of the company's challenges. Long hours became even longer as engineers scrambled to meet deadlines for the latest car models and software updates. The idea of a work-life balance, which had been a cornerstone of Tesla's culture, seemed to fade into the background. Rumors circulated within the company about possible layoffs, which sent shockwaves through Tesla's tight-knit workforce. Tesla's rise had always been about more than just the numbers. It was about creating a community of like-minded individuals who believed in the mission. But now, as the financial pressure mounted, cracks began to show. Some employees questioned whether they were truly valued or whether their hard work was simply a means to an end for the company's larger ambitions. Musk, too, found himself feeling the weight of the situation. He had always been willing to sacrifice personal time and comfort to push his companies forward, but the pressure from every direction was beginning to take a toll. Late nights at the office, hours spent in meetings, and endless decisions to be made about product development, staffing, and investor relations had left him physically drained. The tipping point came when Musk received an email from a top Tesla executive outlining the dire state of the company's finances and its future prospects. The report was blunt: without immediate corrective action, Tesla's ability to continue as a going concern could be in jeopardy. Musk, always the optimist, had known that such challenges were inevitable at some point in the company's growth. But the reality hit harder than he expected. The vision he had worked tirelessly to bring to life, the company he had poured his heart and soul into, was suddenly under threat. In the middle of this storm, Elon took to Twitter, the platform where he was most comfortable speaking directly to the world. "Tesla is going through some tough times right now," he wrote. "But we've been through worse, and we'll get through this. The mission to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy is more important than ever. We will fight to stay on course." Despite the optimism in his message, the public and the media weren't as convinced. Musk's reputation had taken a hit, and his use of Twitter to address serious matters had become a subject of mockery and concern. Investors who had once placed their trust in his unorthodox leadership began to withdraw, and analysts warned that Tesla's stock was teetering on the edge of a major collapse. Elon realized that something had to change. The crisis had illuminated several critical areas that needed attention. The company's culture had been stretched thin by overwork, the vision had to be refocused to address immediate concerns, and the leadership team needed to come together to develop a coherent strategy for moving forward. It wasn't just about managing finances, it was about finding a way to preserve Tesla's identity and values in the face of adversity. Musk knew that if the company lost sight of its mission to create sustainable energy solutions and improve the lives of people through innovation, it would lose the very thing that had made it special. Musk called an emergency meeting with the leadership team, which included senior executives from Tesla's production, software, and finance departments. The mood was tense. Everyone knew the stakes, but there was also a sense of unity. This wasn't just Musk's company, it was a shared mission. "We need to refocus," Musk began, his voice steady despite the weight of the situation. "We've lost sight of what makes us great. It's not just the technology, it's the people. We need to bring Tesla back to its roots. We need to make sure our employees know they are valued. We need to fix this from the inside out." In the aftermath of the crisis meeting, a clear course of action began to emerge. Musk and his leadership team decided to make several changes. The first step was addressing the workforce's concerns about job security. Musk issued a company-wide message emphasizing that layoffs were not on the table and that Tesla would focus on creating sustainable growth, even if it meant slowing down certain projects temporarily. "We're in this together," Musk wrote. "Tesla's success isn't just built on our products, it's built on our people. Let's remind ourselves of what we're doing here. We have a mission, and every one of us plays a part in that. The company also made a commitment to revisiting its internal culture. The wellness initiatives that had been introduced earlier were expanded, with additional resources for mental health support, flexible working conditions, and regular feedback sessions with employees. Tesla's HR department worked closely with teams to ensure that no one felt unsupported during this challenging time. Simultaneously, Musk and his leadership team decided to focus on Tesla's core products, electric vehicles and energy storage, shifting away from some of the more experimental projects that had spread resources thin. The company doubled down on its mission to accelerate sustainable energy, ensuring that the products people needed to make that transition were front and center. It wasn't easy, and it didn't happen overnight. But over the next several months, Tesla began to recover. Employee morale began to rise as the company focused on restoring its culture of empathy, respect, and collaboration. Investors, while initially skeptical, started to see the impact of Musk's leadership. Slowly but surely, Tesla regained its footing. Elon Musk had faced one of the greatest challenges of his career, and in doing so, he had learned a powerful lesson: even the most innovative companies must be grounded in a culture that values its people. The crisis had tested Tesla, but it had also strengthened the company's resolve. Tesla wasn't just about the technology it produced, it was about the people who made it happen. And that was a lesson Musk would carry forward as he led Tesla into the future. With Tesla slowly regaining stability after the previous crisis, the company found itself at a crucial juncture. The decisions Musk had made to prioritize employee welfare and refocus on the company's core mission were paying off. But the real test of Tesla's future would come as it began to expand internationally. Musk had always dreamed of making Tesla not just a US success story, but a global powerhouse that would change the world. The question remained: could Tesla thrive in new markets where corporate cultures and business landscapes were vastly different from what Musk had known? As Tesla's global expansion plans began to take shape, it became clear that the company's success would depend not only on its innovative products but on its ability to adapt to diverse cultural, economic, and regulatory environments. Countries around the world were eager to embrace the green revolution, but they also posed unique challenges. Tesla's first significant international push took place in China, the world's largest electric vehicle market. It was a pivotal move, but not one without risk. China's auto industry had been traditionally dominated by domestic manufacturers, and many foreign companies had struggled to break into the market. Moreover, the Chinese government had a complicated relationship with foreign companies, often demanding that they partner with local businesses in exchange for market access. Musk's strategy was bold. Instead of following the traditional route of joint ventures with local partners, Tesla decided to go solo. In 2019, the company opened its Gigafactory in Shanghai, the first wholly foreign-owned car factory in China. The move sent shockwaves through the global business community. Many analysts were skeptical about Tesla's ability to compete against China's homegrown electric vehicle makers, which had the advantage of government support and a deep understanding of the local market. But Musk was undeterred. He had always believed that Tesla's unique approach to electric vehicles, focused on cutting-edge technology, performance, and design, would resonate with Chinese consumers, who were increasingly turning to sustainable transportation. Moreover, Musk's emphasis on vertical integration and automation would allow Tesla to operate efficiently in China's competitive landscape. Tesla's entry into China wasn't without hurdles. Musk had to navigate a maze of regulatory requirements and governmental restrictions. At the same time, he was balancing the growing concerns about Tesla's environmental impact, despite the company's focus on sustainability. Nevertheless, the gamble paid off. The Shanghai Gigafactory quickly became a success, pumping out Model 3s and eventually Model Ys at an impressive rate. Tesla's vehicles gained a strong following, and the company's market share began to grow exponentially. What had started as an ambitious project to bring Tesla to the world's largest market had become one of the company's most successful ventures. After China, Musk turned his attention to Europe. The European Union had set ambitious goals for reducing carbon emissions, and countries like Germany, France, and the Netherlands were pushing hard for the adoption of electric vehicles. Tesla's presence in Europe, however, was not as simple as in China. European markets were already home to established automakers like Volkswagen, BMW, and Mercedes-Benz, all of whom were increasingly investing in electric vehicle technology. However, Tesla's reputation for high-performance electric cars and innovative technology gave it a strong competitive edge. Musk was determined to establish a foothold in Europe, not only through sales but by building a manufacturing presence on the continent. In 2020, Tesla broke ground on a massive new factory in Berlin, dubbed Gigafactory Berlin, which promised to produce vehicles specifically designed for the European market. The Berlin factory, like the Shanghai Gigafactory, represented more than just a manufacturing facility, it was a statement. Tesla was committed to establishing itself as a key player in the European electric vehicle market. The factory would not only increase Tesla's production capabilities but also give the company access to new incentives and subsidies provided by European governments for green energy and sustainability initiatives. Despite initial delays and complications with local regulatory approval, Gigafactory Berlin opened its doors to much fanfare in late 2022. The plant became a beacon for Tesla's future in Europe, producing the highly anticipated Model Y and introducing new jobs and opportunities for local workers. European governments lauded Tesla's investment, as it was seen as a bold move that would accelerate the continent's transition to electric mobility. While Tesla's international expansion was gaining momentum, the company faced significant challenges in managing its global footprint. One of the most prominent issues was navigating the different regulatory landscapes in each country. Each market had its own set of rules for vehicle safety, emissions standards, and manufacturing processes. Musk, who was known for his unconventional approach to business, was often forced to adapt and find creative solutions to these challenges. In addition, Tesla's expansion meant a larger workforce, and as the company grew globally, the pressure on maintaining its employee-first culture intensified. The same challenges that had plagued Tesla in the US, long working hours, high expectations, and the strain of maintaining innovation, were beginning to surface in international locations. Musk had to grapple with the idea of balancing the company's ambitious goals with the well-being of his employees across the world. In response, Musk increased his focus on employee relations, establishing new teams within Tesla's HR division specifically to oversee the international workforce. This included introducing localized support for employees in China and Europe, making sure that Tesla's commitment to a healthy work environment and sustainable practices was upheld at every level of the company, regardless of geography. Another hurdle Musk encountered was the global supply chain crisis that had been exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. Tesla, like many other manufacturers, faced shortages in crucial components such as microchips, raw materials, and batteries. As supply chain disruptions continued to plague the industry, Musk was forced to make tough decisions about how to allocate resources and maintain production schedules. Despite these difficulties, Musk remained optimistic. "We've always overcome obstacles before," he said in an internal memo to employees. "This is no different. We're Tesla, and we always find a way to solve problems." By 2024, Tesla had firmly established itself as a global leader in the electric vehicle industry. The company's success in China and Europe, along with its continued dominance in the US, positioned it as the foremost player in the green revolution. As the world's largest manufacturer of electric vehicles, Tesla was no longer just a car company, it had become a symbol of innovation, sustainability, and progress. Musk's vision had come to life. He had successfully taken Tesla from a struggling startup to a global powerhouse, demonstrating that electric vehicles could be affordable, desirable, and, most importantly, accessible to people around the world. Tesla was no longer a niche company, it was a force shaping the future of transportation. But Musk wasn't stopping there. His ambitions for Tesla went far beyond vehicles. He had set his sights on revolutionizing energy production, launching new projects aimed at providing sustainable energy solutions on a global scale. Tesla's solar energy products, paired with its battery storage solutions, promised to reshape how the world generated and consumed power. As Tesla's position in the electric vehicle and energy markets became more entrenched, Elon Musk turned his attention to what he considered the next frontier of technological innovation: artificial intelligence. His fascination with AI was not new. Over the years, he had frequently voiced both the potential and the dangers associated with this rapidly developing field. He had warned the world about the risks of unchecked AI development, yet he believed it also held the key to unlocking the future. Tesla's involvement with AI had already been underway for years. The company's autopilot system, which allowed vehicles to navigate highways autonomously, was built upon a sophisticated AI infrastructure. However, Musk's ambitions went far beyond just improving self-driving technology. He envisioned a future where AI could revolutionize not only Tesla's vehicles but every aspect of human life, from healthcare to energy to space exploration. Musk's vision for AI was rooted in his belief that humanity needed to work in harmony with machines to achieve its full potential. He had always been driven by the idea of pushing the boundaries of what was possible, and AI presented an opportunity to accelerate that progress exponentially. The mission was clear: to create an AI that could enhance human capabilities, solve global challenges, and work alongside humans rather than replace them. AI is the future, Musk declared in an interview. But if we're not careful, it could also be the end of the future. We need to take control and ensure that AI serves humanity, not the other way around. Tesla's foray into AI had begun with the development of its full self-driving, FSD, software. The company's team of engineers and data scientists worked tirelessly to improve the system's ability to navigate city streets, make split-second decisions, and understand complex driving scenarios. But Musk knew that FSD was just the tip of the iceberg. To truly transform the world, Tesla needed to build an AI infrastructure that was far more sophisticated, one that could take on a wide array of tasks beyond driving. He set his sights on developing what he called Tesla Brain, an AI-driven operating system that could be integrated into all Tesla vehicles, as well as Tesla's other products, from energy storage systems to robotics. This brain would not only enable cars to drive themselves but would also serve as the backbone for the next generation of AI applications. Musk's long-standing interest in space exploration through his company SpaceX was another avenue where AI played a pivotal role. SpaceX's rockets and spacecraft have become more autonomous over the years, thanks in part to AI-driven navigation and flight control systems. But Musk was not content to simply launch rockets into space. He dreamed of a future where AI could be used to build sustainable human colonies on Mars and beyond. The human race has to become a multiplanetary species, Musk often stated, emphasizing that the key to making that vision a reality would lie in AI. Whether it was developing advanced AI systems for autonomous spacecraft or using machine learning to design and construct habitats on Mars, Musk saw AI as the ultimate tool for space exploration. AI will be our co-pilot, Musk said during a SpaceX presentation. It will help us make critical decisions, navigate the vast distances of space, and build the infrastructure necessary for humans to live on other planets. In 2023, Musk made a bold move by establishing Tesla's very own AI research and development lab. Located just outside of Palo Alto, California, the lab became the focal point for Tesla's AI endeavors. It was here that the most brilliant minds in AI, machine learning, and robotics gathered to push the boundaries of what was possible. At the heart of the lab was the development of a neural network that could be used across Tesla's product lineup. The team worked on designing more advanced algorithms for Tesla's self-driving cars, but they also began researching ways to apply AI to Tesla's energy products. The idea was to create an AI-powered energy management system that could optimize the use of solar power and battery storage, making Tesla's energy ecosystem smarter, more efficient, and more integrated. The lab also became the breeding ground for Tesla's ambitions in robotics. Musk had always been fascinated by the idea of creating robots that could help improve human lives, whether it was by performing tasks in factories, assisting with healthcare, or even living alongside people in homes. The Tesla bot, which Musk had announced earlier, became the centerpiece of the lab's work. The Tesla bot, a humanoid robot designed to assist with repetitive tasks, had been Musk's most audacious project in the realm of AI. Initially, critics laughed at the idea, dismissing it as just another Musk pipe dream. But as the development of the Tesla bot gained momentum, the skepticism began to fade. The robot was designed to be physically capable of performing tasks like lifting heavy objects, walking, and even engaging in basic conversation. Unlike traditional robots, which were designed for very specific, narrowly defined tasks, the Tesla bot was intended to be adaptable. Its AI system was designed to learn from its environment and interact with humans in ways that were natural and intuitive. Musk believed that this robot could revolutionize industries like manufacturing, healthcare, and even personal assistance. By 2025, Tesla had unveiled the first working prototype of the Tesla bot. It was still in its early stages, but the results were groundbreaking. The robot could perform basic household tasks, assist in warehouses, and even help Tesla employees with repetitive or labor-intensive jobs. The potential applications seemed endless. The Tesla bot is just the beginning, Musk said during the unveiling. We are building a future where AI works for humanity, enhancing our lives and making the world a better place. This is a major step toward that future. While Tesla's AI developments were gaining momentum, Musk and his team were also forced to confront the ethical implications of this new technology. The rapid development of AI raised concerns about job displacement, privacy, and security. Could AI replace human workers in ways that would exacerbate unemployment? Could the AI systems Tesla was building be hacked or misused? Musk, who had long been an advocate for responsible AI development, was determined to address these issues head-on. Tesla's AI team implemented rigorous security protocols and worked alongside ethicists and regulators to ensure that their technology would not be used in harmful ways. We cannot ignore the potential consequences of what we're building, Musk said. AI has the power to change the world, but we need to make sure it's used ethically and responsibly. We need to create a framework that allows us to develop these technologies without compromising our values. Looking to the future, Musk saw AI as not just a tool for Tesla, but as a transformative force for all of humanity. While Tesla's products and innovations would continue to play a critical role in shaping the future, Musk believed that the true impact of AI would be felt in other sectors, from healthcare to education to entertainment. We are on the cusp of a new era, Musk said in a final address to his employees. AI will revolutionize everything we know. And at Tesla, we'll be right at the center of it. With Tesla's AI revolution underway, the world was left to wonder what the next chapter would bring. For Musk, there was no turning back. The future of humanity had arrived, and Tesla was leading the charge. As Tesla's involvement with artificial intelligence, AI, deepened, the world began to shift in ways no one had fully anticipated. Musk, ever the visionary, had created not just a company but a movement that would change the future of technology, business, and human existence. Yet with such rapid progress, ethical dilemmas loomed large, and Tesla found itself at a crossroads. Musk's passion for AI was evident. He saw it as a key to unlocking solutions to many of humanity's greatest challenges: climate change, resource depletion, and even the colonization of other planets. But as Tesla's AI projects matured, the ethical questions surrounding the use of such powerful technology became more pressing. While AI had the potential to revolutionize the world, it also had the potential to disrupt societies, economies, and entire industries. As Tesla began to push the boundaries of what AI could do, governments, regulators, and the public began to take notice. Many feared that the unchecked development of AI could lead to unforeseen consequences. There was growing concern that AI, if not properly regulated, could result in massive job losses, data privacy violations, and even create autonomous systems capable of harm. In 2024, the European Union passed a sweeping set of regulations aimed at governing the development of AI technologies. These regulations were intended to address a range of concerns, from ensuring transparency in AI decision-making to establishing safeguards to prevent discrimination or bias in AI algorithms. The EU's approach to regulating AI quickly gained traction worldwide, and other countries began to follow suit. Tesla, as a major player in the AI space, found itself under intense scrutiny. While Musk had always emphasized the ethical use of AI, he now realized that Tesla would have to align its operations with these new regulations. But the question remained, could Tesla continue to innovate while remaining compliant with an increasingly complex global regulatory landscape? Musk's reaction was a mix of defiance and determination. He believed that strict regulation could stifle innovation and slow down the pace of technological progress. Yet he also understood the need for some level of oversight to ensure that AI technologies were used responsibly. "We will comply with regulations," Musk said at a press conference. "But we cannot allow the fear of regulation to hold us back from making the breakthroughs that will help humanity. AI is too important to the future of our species." Tesla was determined to set the standard for ethical AI development, and Musk was personally committed to ensuring that his company led by example. Tesla's AI team, now composed of hundreds of the brightest minds in the industry, began working closely with ethicists, sociologists, and philosophers to develop a set of core principles that would guide their work. At the heart of Tesla's AI ethics was the concept of AI for good, a commitment to using artificial intelligence in ways that benefited society and promoted the common good. Tesla's AI projects, from self-driving cars to energy management systems, would be designed with the goal of improving quality of life, reducing carbon footprints, and making the world more sustainable. Musk also became an advocate for AI safety. While his focus was on ensuring that Tesla's AI technologies were aligned with Tesla's mission to build a better, more sustainable future, he also voiced concerns about AI becoming too powerful and uncontrollable. He argued that AI needed to be developed in a way that ensured its capabilities would always be aligned with human values. AI is an extension of humanity's intellect, and we must never forget that it should work for humanity, not the other way around, Musk said. "If we do this right, AI can make the world safer, healthier, and more connected. If we do it wrong, it could lead to catastrophe." In an effort to keep AI development transparent and accountable, Musk established the Tesla AI Ethics Board, a group of distinguished experts from various fields, including AI, ethics, law, and social policy. The board's role was to review Tesla's AI projects, ensuring that they adhered to ethical standards and that potential risks were identified and mitigated. The board quickly became a key part of Tesla's AI strategy. They were responsible for conducting independent reviews of all new AI technologies before they were deployed, making sure that they met Tesla's high ethical standards. The board also worked closely with Tesla's legal team to navigate the complex landscape of global AI regulations. "This is an unprecedented era for technology," said Dr. Evelyn Ford, a leading ethicist who served on the Tesla AI Ethics Board. "The decisions we make now will have lasting impacts on society for generations." Tesla is committed to ensuring that AI is developed and deployed in a way that aligns with our shared values of fairness, transparency, and accountability. As Tesla expanded its AI capabilities into other sectors, such as healthcare and education, the board's work grew even more critical. Musk was determined to keep Tesla ahead of the curve, but he also knew that the company's reputation would be on the line if any ethical missteps occurred. One of the most significant concerns surrounding AI was its potential impact on employment. As Tesla and other companies pushed forward with automation and AI-driven technologies, there were fears that millions of jobs could be replaced by machines. In many ways, the promise of a more efficient and automated world came at the expense of workers in traditional industries. Musk, ever the disruptor, had always believed that technological progress would ultimately benefit humanity in the long term. But he also recognized the immediate impact that AI-driven automation could have on workers. In response, he began exploring ways to help workers transition to new roles and ensure that AI's benefits were shared equitably across society. Tesla partnered with educational institutions and training programs to create a new wave of skilled workers who could take advantage of the opportunities created by AI. Tesla's AI Academy was established to train workers in machine learning, robotics, and AI ethics. The company also worked with governments to establish Universal Basic Income, UBI, programs to support workers who might be displaced by automation. "We are at a crossroads," Musk said in a speech. "AI will transform the world, but it's our job to make sure that transformation is inclusive. We have to create new opportunities, new industries, and new jobs for people, or we risk leaving too many behind." By 2025, Tesla had become not just a leader in electric vehicles and energy, but a global leader in AI development. The company's influence extended far beyond its products. It had become a driving force in the conversation about AI ethics, regulation, and responsibility. Musk's leadership had positioned Tesla at the intersection of cutting-edge technology and social responsibility. As Tesla continued to expand its AI initiatives, the world watched closely. Would Musk and Tesla succeed in shaping the future of AI in a way that balanced innovation with ethics? Could they lead the way in ensuring that AI served humanity, rather than replacing it? The stakes were high, and the pressure was mounting. For Musk, the journey was far from over. The road ahead would be filled with challenges and questions. But if there was one thing he had proven time and time again, it was that he was not afraid to tackle the impossible. With Tesla at the helm, the future of AI, and humanity, was in the hands of those bold enough to shape it. As Tesla's AI revolution continued to unfold, the ripples of its influence began to be felt far beyond the realms of electric vehicles, energy solutions, and artificial intelligence. Musk's broader ambitions were taking shape, and Tesla's role in shaping the global economy was becoming undeniable. It was no longer just a car company. Tesla had transformed into an entity with far-reaching influence in multiple sectors, from technology and finance to energy and even geopolitics. Elon Musk's vision for Tesla had always extended beyond the boundaries of business. While some questioned his ability to sustain such ambitious goals, others marveled at his ability to make seemingly impossible ideas a reality. By 2025, Tesla was seen not just as a technological pioneer but as a harbinger of the future, a company that was reshaping entire industries and creating a blueprint for a more sustainable, tech-driven world. But this success did not come without its challenges. As Tesla's reach expanded, it began to face significant pressures from traditional industries, global regulators, and even its own investors. The question now was whether Tesla could maintain its momentum and continue to lead the charge toward an AI-powered future while balancing the demands of an increasingly complex global market. Tesla's impact on the energy industry was one of the most profound changes that Musk had envisioned. The company's energy division, led by its groundbreaking solar panels and Powerwall energy storage systems, had disrupted the traditional energy sector. The world had long relied on fossil fuels for power, but Tesla's push for clean, renewable energy had begun to turn the tide. By 2025, Tesla's energy products were in use across the globe, powering homes, businesses, and entire cities with solar energy. The company had integrated AI into its energy solutions, creating an intelligent, grid-like network that could predict and optimize energy consumption. Tesla's solar roofs, which seamlessly blended with the design of a home, were now as common as traditional roofing materials, and the company's energy storage solutions had become essential for homes and businesses looking to reduce their reliance on the electrical grid. However, Tesla's success in the energy space also meant that traditional energy companies, many of whom had lobbied against the rise of clean energy, were now facing their own existential crises. As Tesla's influence in the energy market grew, conventional energy giants were forced to adapt or face obsolescence. Musk, in typical fashion, was unapologetic. "We're here to change the world," Musk said in a keynote address. "And that means taking on the old guard. The future is electric. The future is renewable. And Tesla will lead that charge." Beyond the business realm, Tesla's meteoric rise had geopolitical implications that few had anticipated. Musk had always operated on a global scale, and his ventures into space exploration with SpaceX and the development of a globally integrated AI ecosystem through Tesla were starting to align with larger political shifts. Nations across the world began to recognize the power Tesla held, not just as a company but as a catalyst for global change. In Europe, Tesla's success story had inspired governments to commit to ambitious green energy targets, with many nations adopting policies that favored electric vehicles and renewable energy. China, which had once been seen as a key competitor in the electric vehicle market, found itself collaborating with Tesla, investing heavily in clean energy infrastructure and AI-driven technology. Musk's influence even stretched into the realm of space. As SpaceX worked toward making Mars a viable colony, countries and organizations began discussing the global implications of such ambitious projects. Could Tesla's AI technologies play a role in creating self-sustaining colonies on the Red Planet? How would space exploration affect the political dynamics on Earth? Through all of this, Musk remained steadfast in his belief that global cooperation, driven by shared goals for a sustainable future, was the way forward. Tesla's influence in shaping the global economy and policy would be undeniable, but Musk's true vision was to unite the world in pursuit of a common goal, to use technology to solve humanity's greatest challenges. With AI at the core of Tesla's operations, one of the most pressing challenges facing the company was the potential for mass job displacement. The rise of automation, from Tesla's self-driving vehicles to the AI-powered manufacturing processes in Tesla factories, was already starting to replace many jobs once performed by humans. Musk had long been a proponent of the idea that technology would inevitably lead to job displacement. However, he also believed that new technologies would eventually create new industries and opportunities for workers. The key, according to Musk, was preparing for the future by embracing change rather than resisting it. Tesla responded by investing heavily in educational initiatives. The company launched new training programs for displaced workers, equipping them with the skills needed for jobs in the rapidly growing tech and AI sectors. Tesla's AI Academy became a global initiative, with courses on machine learning, robotics, and advanced manufacturing processes being offered to anyone looking to adapt to the changing job landscape. "We can't just sit back and watch people lose their livelihoods," Musk said. "It's our responsibility to ensure that the future we're creating is one where no one is left behind. That means creating opportunities for everyone." At the same time, Tesla continued to push the envelope in AI-driven automation, seeking to create a future where machines could work alongside humans in harmony, freeing up people to focus on higher-level tasks and creative endeavors. Musk's ultimate goal was to create an economy where work was no longer limited by traditional constraints. With the rise of AI and automation, many tasks would no longer require human input, but Musk envisioned a future where people could focus on more meaningful, creative, and intellectual pursuits. He believed that technology, when used responsibly, could lead to a future where humans were free to pursue their passions and ideas without the burden of monotonous or menial work. Tesla's work on AI-driven robotics was already laying the foundation for this vision. The Tesla bot, with its humanoid features, was being developed not just to perform tasks in factories but also to assist in home care, healthcare, and education. By eliminating repetitive labor, Tesla aimed to redefine the nature of work itself. "We're building a future where people don't have to work just to survive," Musk said. "In the future, work will be about fulfillment and contribution. We want to create an economy where people can follow their passions, build relationships, and contribute to society in ways that matter." As Tesla moved forward with its ambitious vision, it wasn't long before new, unforeseen challenges began to rise from the shadows. Despite the groundbreaking work it had done in the fields of electric vehicles, AI, and clean energy, the company found itself facing competition in ways it had never fully anticipated. A new, highly ambitious rival, one backed by vast resources and a relentless drive to succeed, had begun to make waves in the market, threatening to undo everything Tesla had worked for. It was a tech giant, one that had quietly begun to take an aggressive stance in the AI and electric vehicle markets. This company, known as Vector, had long been seen as a neutral player in the tech space, but now, under the leadership of a charismatic CEO, it was pushing the boundaries of what was possible in AI and sustainable technology. The market was buzzing with speculation about Vector's plans. Their approach was ambitious, bold, and at times, reckless. Vector had announced a line of self-driving vehicles, powered by their own proprietary AI, which were set to rival Tesla's top-selling Model S. They also unveiled plans to launch their own global network of renewable energy sources, targeting Tesla's dominance in solar and energy storage. Vector's rapid pace of innovation and their apparent disregard for safety regulations put them on a collision course with Tesla. For the first time in years, Elon Musk felt the weight of competition bearing down on him. Tesla was no longer the uncontested leader in the race for the future. Vector had made it clear that it would stop at nothing to challenge Tesla's place at the top of the market. Vector's rise had been swift. The company's AI algorithms were some of the most advanced in the industry, and their self-driving cars boasted an impressive array of features that rivaled Tesla's own. But it was their approach to technology that made them a formidable foe. While Tesla had always prided itself on building sustainable and ethical solutions, Vector's leadership, led by CEO Sebastian Blake, was willing to take more risks in the name of progress. Blake was a young, charismatic entrepreneur who had made a name for himself in the tech world with his bold ideas and controversial business tactics. Unlike Musk, who had always emphasized long-term sustainability, Blake was laser-focused on short-term results. He had little patience for the regulatory hurdles that Tesla had faced and was willing to cut corners to achieve rapid growth. "I don't have time for rules and regulations that slow us down," Blake had said in a recent interview. "We're in a race against time, and the future waits for no one." This attitude was evident in Vector's approach to AI development. While Tesla had carefully nurtured its AI systems, ensuring they were safe, transparent, and aligned with ethical standards, Vector was in a hurry. Blake's leadership had pushed Vector's AI systems to the brink of what was considered safe, often releasing products to the market without the extensive testing that Tesla had insisted on. At first, the world watched in awe as Vector's vehicles achieved milestones in self-driving technology that Tesla had taken years to accomplish. Their cars were faster, cheaper, and, most importantly, appeared to be able to handle complex traffic situations more efficiently than Tesla's own vehicles. But there was a price to pay for this reckless innovation. For Musk, the arrival of Vector was a wake-up call. He knew that Tesla could not rest on its laurels. The company's dominance in the electric vehicle market was no longer guaranteed. If Tesla were to maintain its position as a leader in the industry, it would need to push even harder, to innovate, to take risks, and to continue the work of building a sustainable future for humanity. However, Musk also knew that Tesla's reputation for quality and ethics was one of its strongest selling points. Unlike Vector, Tesla had always operated with a focus on safety, transparency, and long-term sustainability. Musk's next move would have to balance the need for faster innovation with Tesla's commitment to building a responsible future. Tesla's response was immediate. The company announced a series of new projects aimed at not only countering Vector's advances but also reinforcing Tesla's place as the leader in the electric vehicle and energy markets. The first step was the release of a new version of the Model S, featuring cutting-edge self-driving capabilities that surpassed anything Vector had put forward. Tesla also announced the launch of an AI-powered energy management system, designed to make homes and businesses more energy efficient and sustainable than ever before. Tesla's new vehicles were designed with an emphasis on safety and transparency, features that Musk was certain would appeal to consumers who were growing wary of Vector's riskier approach. As Tesla ramped up its efforts to stay ahead of Vector, the ethical divide between the two companies became more pronounced. Tesla's commitment to transparency, sustainability, and ethical AI development remained unwavering, while Vector's more aggressive tactics began to garner criticism from various corners. Tesla supporters praised Musk for his refusal to compromise on safety and ethics. "Tesla may be taking longer, but they're doing it right," one commentator wrote. Musk understands that the future isn't just about speed, it's about creating something that will last and improve lives. Vector might be able to move faster, but in the end, it's Tesla that's building something sustainable. On the other hand, Vector's supporters argued that the company's no-holds-barred approach was what the world needed. "We don't have time to wait for Tesla to catch up," one Vector executive stated. "The future is already here, and Vector is leading the way. Tesla's cautious approach will only hold them back in the long run." Musk, for his part, remained resolute. He knew that Tesla's future depended not just on technological advances but also on staying true to the company's values. Speed is important, but it's not everything, he said in a meeting with his top executives. We're not just building cars or energy solutions. We're building a future. And that future must be one that is safe, sustainable, and responsible. By late 2025, the rivalry between Tesla and Vector had reached a boiling point. Both companies were preparing to launch their flagship AI-powered self-driving vehicles, which promised to revolutionize the transportation industry. Musk was aware that this was Tesla's chance to make a bold statement, one that would not only reaffirm Tesla's leadership but also show the world that responsible innovation was the way forward. The battle lines were drawn. Vector's flashy, fast-moving technology was racing ahead, while Tesla's commitment to safety, ethics, and long-term vision was standing firm. Musk knew that it was not just about which car would outperform the other, but which philosophy would win in the long term. In a high-stakes showdown at the Global Technology Expo, Tesla's new Model S AI took the stage. It was the culmination of years of work, blending speed, safety, and intelligence in a way that no other vehicle had done before. Vector's latest self-driving car, on the other hand, was quick, sleek, and brimming with advanced technology, but there was a certain uncertainty about its long-term reliability. The world watched in anticipation as the two companies faced off. What would be the result? Would the reckless speed of Vector prevail, or would Tesla's ethical, careful approach win the day? The Global Technology Expo had been the setting for a decisive moment, one that would ultimately shape the future of the electric vehicle industry. As the Tesla Model S and Vector's latest offering faced off on the international stage, the tension in the air was palpable. The world had eagerly anticipated this competition, and for many, the result would determine the fate of the future of transportation. Vector's car was sleek and fast, brimming with advanced self-driving technology. However, as the demonstration began, it quickly became clear that the car's performance was not as flawless as advertised. The AI system struggled with navigation in complex urban environments, something Tesla's cars had mastered over the years. There were several near misses during the test, and the vehicle's sensors were unable to adapt quickly enough to unpredictable elements like pedestrians or cyclists. The Tesla Model S, on the other hand, performed effortlessly. With years of rigorous testing and refinement behind it, the car glided smoothly through the same course, handling every obstacle with ease. The AI behind the wheel adapted quickly to traffic patterns, detected potential hazards, and responded to them with precision. The crowd's admiration for Tesla grew, and Musk's calm, calculated approach to innovation was on full display. In the aftermath of the demo, the media exploded with commentary. Critics and industry experts were quick to point out that, despite Vector's rapid advancements, Tesla had once again proven that responsible, ethical innovation was the true path forward. The fallout for Vector was swift and devastating. Despite the media frenzy around their flashy, ambitious technologies, the company's reputation took a massive hit. In the weeks following the expo, investigations revealed several safety issues with Vector's self-driving systems. The AI was found to have a number of critical vulnerabilities, and the company's rushed deployment of its vehicles without proper testing left consumers and investors questioning the company's commitment to safety. In the wake of the debacle, multiple lawsuits were filed against Vector, with several high-profile investors pulling their support. Sebastian Blake, Vector's CEO, was forced to step down amid the scandal, and the company's once impressive stock value plummeted. The aggressive expansion that had defined Vector's rise now turned into a liability as they faced mounting legal challenges, regulatory scrutiny, and a loss of consumer trust. Tesla, by contrast, was flourishing. The company's stock soared as confidence in its products and ethical approach grew. Musk, ever the visionary, didn't gloat over the fall of his competition. Instead, he continued to push Tesla forward, focusing on further improving the company's technology and solidifying its leadership in the electric vehicle and energy sectors. In an interview shortly after the expo, Musk commented on the situation. "Innovation is important," he said, "but so is responsibility. We cannot afford to sacrifice safety and ethics for speed. The world needs leaders who are willing to take the time to get it right. Tesla's continued success was a testament to Musk's belief that the future wasn't about rushing to the top but about building something that would last and truly change the world. Although Vector's collapse seemed inevitable, it wasn't the end of the story. With Blake out of the picture, a new team took over the company, one that was determined to rebuild Vector's reputation from the ground up. They understood now, perhaps better than anyone, that speed without caution could lead to disaster. The new leadership took a more cautious approach, focusing on refining their AI systems and ensuring that their cars were thoroughly tested before releasing them to the public. But the damage had been done. Vector's aggressive push to be the first in everything had cost them dearly. The public perception of their brand was forever changed, and while they might recover, they would no longer be seen as the bold disruptor they once were. Tesla, on the other hand, had cemented its place as the leader of the industry, not just in technology, but in ethical innovation. As Vector dealt with the fallout from its disastrous foray into self-driving cars, Tesla continued its steady march toward the future. The company had a firm hold on the electric vehicle market, and its renewable energy solutions were gaining global traction. The AI-driven technologies Tesla had developed over the years were being applied in new and exciting ways, from fully autonomous homes to smarter, greener cities. Tesla's influence in the automotive world was unmatched. Other car manufacturers had tried to follow Tesla's lead, but none had been able to replicate its level of success. With the Model S now in its fifth generation, Tesla had made further strides in perfecting self-driving systems, improving battery efficiency, and integrating their electric vehicles with advanced AI systems for greater energy optimization. But Musk had his sights set on even bigger goals. With the success of the Model S and the expansion of Tesla's energy products, the company was ready to launch its next bold initiative, the Tesla Hyperloop. The Hyperloop, a high-speed transportation system capable of traveling at over 700 miles per hour, was Musk's vision for a future where people could travel vast distances in the blink of an eye. Combining vacuum tubes and electromagnetic propulsion, the Hyperloop promised to revolutionize transportation, drastically reducing travel times and carbon emissions. Tesla's global expansion was also progressing at an unprecedented rate. The company's influence in China, Europe, and the United States continued to grow, as governments around the world pushed for stricter emissions regulations and greater investment in sustainable energy. Tesla's products were now being used in over 50 countries, and the company's reach was growing stronger each year. In many ways, Tesla had achieved what Musk had always set out to do, create a company that was not only profitable but that could also drive change on a global scale. Tesla wasn't just an electric car manufacturer, it was a symbol of a future where humanity had finally taken control of its destiny, using technology to create a sustainable, ethical world for future generations. In a speech at the United Nations in 2026, Musk reflected on the company's journey. "When we started this journey, people told me we were crazy. They said we'd never succeed. But we did. Tesla's success is proof that the world can change if we're willing to take risks, embrace innovation, and stay true to our values. The future isn't about profit, it's about creating a world where we can all thrive." The year was 2030, and the world had changed in ways that no one had ever imagined. It was no longer just about cars or renewable energy. It was about something far greater, a revolution in how humans lived, worked, and interacted with the world around them. Tesla, under Elon Musk's visionary leadership, had helped usher in a new era. The company's groundbreaking advancements in sustainable energy, artificial intelligence, and transportation had laid the foundation for a world where technology served not only to enhance human life but also to preserve the planet. In many ways, Musk's original dream of accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy had expanded into something much bigger, an interconnected world where the challenges of climate change, energy scarcity, and urban congestion were being addressed through radical innovation. Tesla's electric vehicles now dominated roads worldwide, from the bustling streets of New York to the remote highways of rural Africa. The Hyperloop, Musk's bold transportation system, was already connecting major cities across continents, slashing travel times, and offering a greener, more efficient way to travel. And the company's solar and battery solutions were being adopted by governments and households alike, ensuring a sustainable energy future for millions of people. As the sun rose on a new day, Musk stood atop Tesla's headquarters in Palo Alto, gazing out over the vast, sprawling campus below. The campus was a living testament to his mission, a blend of cutting-edge technology and sustainable design. Solar panels covered every rooftop, and the campus energy needs were met entirely by renewable sources. It was a model for the future, one where innovation and environmental responsibility went hand in hand. Musk's journey had been long, filled with setbacks, challenges, and personal sacrifices. Yet, as he stood there on the rooftop, he couldn't help but feel a sense of fulfillment. He had built Tesla not just as a company but as a movement that had changed the way people thought about technology and its role in society. Reflecting on the early days of Tesla, he thought about how impossible it all seemed. In 2003, when Tesla was just an idea in the minds of a few passionate engineers, no one believed that electric cars could be viable. The automotive industry was dominated by fossil fuels, and renewable energy was seen as a niche market. But Musk had refused to accept the status quo. He believed that with enough innovation and persistence, electric vehicles could be mainstream. That belief had driven Tesla's rise from a small startup to one of the most influential companies in the world. And it wasn't just Tesla's success that Musk was proud of. It was the ripple effect Tesla had created, how it had sparked a global shift toward sustainability and technological advancement. The entire automotive industry had been forced to pivot, and other companies had followed Tesla's lead, investing heavily in electric vehicles and clean energy. Governments had introduced policies to incentivize the adoption of renewable energy, and society had slowly but surely embraced the idea that protecting the planet was just as important as economic growth. As Musk walked through the Tesla campus, he saw firsthand the impact of the company's work. Employees who had been with Tesla from the beginning, who had once believed in the impossible dream, were now part of a global network that was working to change the world. They weren't just engineers or marketers, they were pioneers, building the future that humanity had always hoped for. Tesla's latest project was a new initiative called Earth 2.0, a global collaboration aimed at creating self-sustaining, carbon-neutral cities. These cities would integrate the latest advancements in AI, renewable energy, and smart technology to create living spaces where people could thrive without harming the environment. Musk believed that if they could build one such city, it could serve as a model for the rest of the world. It's not just about the tech, Musk often said. It's about creating the future. A future where we can live in harmony with the planet. A future where every person has the opportunity to be a part of something greater than themselves. The first Earth 2.0 city was currently under construction in the Nevada desert. Powered entirely by solar and wind energy, it would house thousands of people, all living in eco-friendly homes that were equipped with AI-driven systems designed to optimize energy consumption. Public transportation within the city would be fully electric, with autonomous vehicles providing clean, fast, and efficient travel for all its residents. As the world moved toward a sustainable future, the next challenge was global cooperation. While Tesla had made incredible strides, many countries still relied heavily on fossil fuels. Climate change was still a pressing issue, and there was no time to waste. Musk understood that the technology existed to change the world, but the political will to implement it on a global scale was still lacking. He had always believed that the most significant obstacle to progress was not technological but ideological. Governments, corporations, and individuals were often slow to change, and entrenched interests were resistant to new ideas. But Musk remained optimistic. The success of Tesla and the adoption of electric vehicles and renewable energy had shown that change was possible. Now, it was a matter of scaling these innovations to a global level. As he addressed the United Nations Climate Summit in 2030, Musk spoke not just about Tesla's achievements but about the future of humanity. "We stand at a crossroads," he said. "The path we choose now will define the future for generations to come. We have the technology. We have the solutions. What we need now is the collective will to make the changes necessary for a sustainable future." If we can do that, we can create a world where every person, every community, and every nation can thrive, without compromising the planet. The room erupted in applause. Musk's words resonated with world leaders, many of whom were now eager to embrace the vision of a future powered by clean, renewable energy. Musk's bold initiatives had sparked a global movement, one that was pushing humanity toward a future where sustainability was the norm, not the exception. By 2040, Tesla was no longer just a company. It had become a symbol of hope, a beacon for the future of humanity. The world had embraced the technologies Musk had pioneered, and a new era of collaboration and innovation had begun. The electric vehicle market was now the dominant force in transportation, and renewable energy had become the backbone of the global economy. Musk's impact on the world was undeniable. His legacy would be remembered not just for his achievements with Tesla but for the way he had fundamentally altered the course of history. He had proven that it was possible to change the world through technology, by aligning innovation with the greater good of society. As he looked out at the world he had helped create, Musk smiled. He knew that the journey was far from over. There was still much work to be done, but the seeds of change had been planted, and the future, for the first time in a long while, seemed full of promise. The world was on the brink of a new era, an era where humanity and the planet could thrive together. And it was all possible because one man had dared to believe that the impossible could become a reality. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough?